Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and unicorns. Welcome to another Pixel Prophecy stream, and I already see the good old pop quiz has spewing up some Commodore 64 questions. Congratulations, Lady Mistleaf, on placing first with 79% correct in Cursiboo, a second with 100% of the questions answered correctly. I think, Kersey, you just pick and choose which ones you like to answer. And yes, indeed, I hear you barking. I really should start and add the new set of questions. I just feel like it's not that many yet, not enough that it has a nice variety to it. So yeah, I'm still collecting questions. So if you have any ideas for what kind of questions you would like to answer, because I'm so blessed with the diversity that is the Pixel Prophecy community, where when I'm posting Commodore questions, certain people will say, they're too easy. Other people will say, I have no idea what you're talking about. And the same person who answers every, integrated circuit question probably has a hard time with Mario questions. So yeah, I will try to find a balance so that every one of you can swear at the questions and think, how am I supposed to know this? Hello, everyone. And Disease is also here. Wonderful. So hello, Lady Mistleaf. Hello, Cursiboo. And hello, Venereal Disease. And hello, this time I was just late, says Kersey. Oh, okay. This explains it. But I mean, unbeaten track record with 100% correct questions. Yeah, the other thing that I always meant to do is have a slightly more interesting points system to the quiz, maybe where it remembers your points or where you can get your stats of your points. But this, of course, requires some sort of database that I keep in the background. With me and databases, it usually means I just go the disk-based route, and that means it's a bunch of text files that are being read and written to. Not the safest thing, especially when multiple threads are trying to work with it. And this is why I always have shied away from it so far. But maybe someday. Right. So as for today, I'm a little bit under the weather. It's nothing serious. It was one of those weeks where I was working with lots of color grading stuff. And the thing was the color grading panels. I mean, I have one right here behind me, just to show you what these things look like. Yeah, this is the small one that I have, and they are anything but ergonomic, especially when you also use the mouse and the keyboard and go back and forth between all different input methods. So long story short, I have such a tense shoulder that on my Friday shift that stretched way into the early hours, I noticed, okay, I need to get this done, because I noticed this tenseness creeping up from the center of my back and right up to my skull. Maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. I hope you do not. And yeah, it gave me lots of headache just from this tensed up muscles. And the problem was, on Saturday I meant to relax, but this was not possible because Connie and I, we were invited to our niece and nephew's birthday. So yeah, children's birthday, and 200-kilometer drive in either direction. So yeah, it was it was a bit taxing, but today was really a very, very slow day for me. At least Connie was super busy. I don't know how she does it, but for me this is my first coffee, and for some reason it's doing wonders there on my back. Maybe I'm just, magically recovering from not working on the computer. But the sad thing is, it got better as soon as I started programming an hour ago. So that's the news with me. And Kersey says, get well soon, and thank you for the health orb. Things, I mean, sometimes this happens, especially with this color grading thing, because when you do something like the Dolby Vision pass on something, the thing is not that it's Dolby Vision. The thing is that the controls on this on the big panel are laid out in a way that you constantly just have to tweak the topmost leftmost knobs, and constantly like this, and I can already feel my shoulder aching. And then you have to go here and click next, and next and next, and no, this panel costs, I don't know, 25,000 euros, and no, it's not possible to switch button layouts around. The funny thing is, I tried to use as much as the good old computer keyboard to do this, because that you can customize with Resolve. But of course, since they want to sell you on their big panel, nothing for Dolby Vision gets speed up. Anyway, so this is usually why I'm already aware of this, and I have my stretching exercises, and this usually helps. So yeah, watch for your posture, and watch out for your posture, and try to have an ergonomic workspace if you can. Good thing is, at work I have a standing desk, and this has really been a boon, because even if you're not really using it as a standing desk, or I mean just standing at the desk, where I thought, okay, I'm just standing, what's the difference? But I noticed that I just walk around much more often than I would when I'm just sitting there where I'm planted and then not moving for 6 hours. Lady Misliff says, I have an ongoing problem with tendonitis. Oh dear, that spread from my wrist, which ironically is now mostly fine, to my elbow, less fine, to my shoulder, even less fine. Oh dear. Yeah, especially when you're working with keyboards and mice and such. Yeah, I feel for you. This must be super annoying. I hope you found something, or find something that eases the pain. As for me, it is stretching and massaging, and just trying to get those tensed up muscles somewhat, I don't know, less calcified, if that's a word. So yeah, it's just, yeah, someone said maybe I should put up start with archery, because it's really the opposite of what you do on a computer. It's using your arms to full extent. You need your shoulder muscles, and you're looking at something that's far off in the distance, and you're standing. So the complete opposite of programming is archery. So I have to find something where I can at least give it a try. And Miss Leaf said, I've noticed that it has been easier to control when I sprinkle some turmeric to my food, as it is good anti-inflammatory. Oh yes, turmeric. Oh, that's the other thing. Probably, yeah, it's tensed up, and in your case sounds like an inflammation, and turmeric, that's the best thing when you don't have to take certain, I don't know, hard drugs just to get rid of the pain, because those have side effects, which you get prescribed other drugs, and then you have this vicious circle of side effects of things going in circles in your body. And if you have something that's plant-based and does the trick, I would go for this first. Thank you for the recommendation. Yeah, turmeric. I should look into this. I mean, it tastes nice. Hopefully it doesn't hurt. I've noticed it is also easier to control when you exercise, not necessarily with your arms, just getting the heart pumping, more blood flow, more good blood stuff gets to the tendons, I guess. Sadly, I prefer gaming to exercise. Yeah, I started doing, I have this app that comes with my watch. It's the Garmin something, Vivo something. And with Connie together, we lowered our daily step target from 10,000 to 5,000 steps, which again, for people as us, mostly screen bound, it's already a lot of steps to get in. And since the app is gamified, which means you get trophies if you have your streaks and so on, this was when I picked up going for walks. And to get this bloody 60-day streak, it meant, of course, walking, sometimes even on the spot at work, where I was just jogging on the spot when it was raining outside. So just to get these 60 days in. And people said, yeah, when you've been getting something, made something a habit for at least 30 days, and I was doing this for 60 days, then it's such a habit that you can't live without it. So this was actually what I was banking on. And after day 60, well, it didn't turn out as expected. I was just so lucky that I don't have to stress about another streak that I shouldn't miss, because I'm very prone to stressing over streaks that are actually pretty pointless. But yeah, I mean, in this case, it's health related, so it's not pointless. But still, I thought, okay, I just give it a couple of days rest, and then maybe I will see if I get the longing for taking walks. I didn't. That's the sad part. So I did like 2 or 3 walks after doing them daily. So I probably should do this because it's healthy. It helps your posture. As you said, just get the blood pumping. That's really super healthy. So, and especially for someone who's sitting at a desk or whose idea of a wholesome hobby is just sitting at a desk with this in my grubby paws and playing, I don't know, right now it's still Expedition 33. So yeah, it's not the most healthy. So probably I should look into this. But first, there's coffee. I keep thinking, says Lady Miss Leaf, I need to make a habit tracking game. Lol. Yeah, that's with certain people such as myself. I'm very, very susceptible to these kinds of gamified streaks, and here's a trophy, and this is how your friends are doing it. If you just do, I don't know, 200 steps more, you get a little, I don't know, reward or something that is either pointless, but still probably, at least for someone like me, this does the trick. My mom, on the other hand, is completely the opposite. If there's something is gamified, she hates it because she feels manipulated, because I mean that's what it is. But even if she thinks something or someone is trying to game her, just out of spite, she does the exact opposite. So yeah, it depends. Instead of gaining energy via time passing or paying for energy, you get energy by doing healthy or goal-oriented things. Reminds me of Pokemon Go. Because there you had to walk, and only when you were walking, certain things would happen, if I recall correctly. And yeah, just exchanging this one grindy thing for something that is actually beneficial to your health. I mean, you can't go wrong there. Oh no, I bored the automated unicorn. So let's get to what actually I'm planning to do today, or I already started. Let me show you. Welcome to good old VS Code. The weird thing is I had an icon there for Copilot because, of course, this is still a Microsoft product, and it was the last usable Microsoft product that I was feeling good about using, and now they pulled this, and of course, yeah, I have to look into some kind of forks for VS Code because I mean I really like it. I love how responsive here the little document map is. Also, where do I have it? Notepad++ would be a close second, which also got here a document map. But if you compare it when I'm scrubbing here and versus what's happening here in VS Code, it's much more responsive, the VS Code thing. So yeah, so what you're seeing now is a short PHP file. And what does it actually do? Let me show you. I just need to spin up my local PHP first, if I can find it. So it's a small micro blogging project, and I thought instead of trying to find a static site generator that has much more functionalities than I would ever use versus something is again overwrought Byzantine like WordPress, I just make something that's super small, dynamic, or even static at some point if I cache it, just that does one thing and does it with grace and not much more. Oh, Frank is here. Hello, Frank. Thank you for dropping by. And Lady Misleaf says, I had no ideas. Notepad++ did that as well. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that this document map. It's not even hidden. I think it was here by View. And right there under View, there is document map. If you don't use it or don't know that it's there, you wouldn't miss it. But yes, I also found this out, I think 1 month back or so. So I've been using Notepad++ for years now. This was when I realized that it is possible. But again, it's not as performant as it is in VS Code. Also, the thing is, when you have multiple tabs open or multiple views of the same document open, let me do this here, move clone to other view. So depending on what document you're in, it changes here the document map. And this is sometimes when you're working on stuff like this, then you think you're in the other view and move the current viewport around. Yeah, it's just a little bit annoying, and this is what kills it in my experience, where I always feel, okay, if I want to do some proper coding, despite how much I love Notepad++, I go to VS Code, because it just feels snappier, and I can do the move to left, move to right, split left and split up, and it's just one click less than in Notepad++, but overall that's really in the end what sells it to me. And Frank says, this does not look like Vim. I'm confused. Yeah, that's another thing. The Emacs and Vims and hackery editors out there. I actually tried, I think it was Emacs back in 2004 or something, when I was this little submarine in computer science at university. I was studying English, but I was just curious about computers and programming, so I went to the technical university, and there I enrolled for introduction to software development. And I think I told the story before, and I was sitting there with my notebook with the vivid colorful Windows XP background and the blue and the green taskbar, and everyone around me had black screens with just a little cursor in light gray, and everyone was taking their notes in Emacs, while I was the odd one out using, I think back then, Microsoft Word or something. So of course I was at the butt of many jokes there. And this is when I thought, okay, I probably should do it like the proper hacker dudes there. And I was just so confused, and I thought, okay, is this how you do it? I don't think that I will like it. So yeah, I tried it, but it was just, it felt a little bit like nowadays when you want to write something with WordPerfect. That's that's a DOS program right before Microsoft Word took over, and WordPerfect had keyboard shortcuts and arcane incantations you had to do for pretty much anything, and control sequences. And again, it was very obtuse to get you into it. You probably had to have the course consisting of 8 VHS tapes, hour-long VHS tapes, just to get the hang of how to use this program. And again, I feel like probably the same is with these high-end text editors. Once you're in there, it becomes a second nature, and everything else is just lacking in features and how you want it to be. But in the end, I feel with whatever you've grown up with and found, this is the most intuitive, and at a certain age you just stick with it, I feel. Lady Misleaf says, it's a lie, but I will say it anyway. I'm too old to learn Vim. Yeah, I think at a certain age we can all agree. I think past 40, the excuse of I'm too old for this shit, whatever it is at least people believe it. I mean, I picked three white hairs out of my stubble today, so I feel like I can. It's a valid tactic to say, I'm too old for this. But of course, I mean, it keeps your gray matter fresh when you just try something new. And of course, in the long run, it probably will be beneficial. But again, I feel like how much time do I need to sink into something like, and it doesn't have to be Emacs, maybe Blender, for example, to get to the same level that I am right now with Maya. So again, it depends on how many hours, months, weeks I want to invest to get to the same level. But then again, of course, if you notice that you're not outright riding a dead horse, but it's rather emaciated already. So maybe you want, at some point, you want to switch while you still can, and don't have to be where it's still on your terms when you do the switch and not being forced out. Maybe same thing with Photoshop, but I digress. Oh, Commander Stitch is here and says, Guten Tag. Hello, Commander Stitch. Wonderful of you to drop by. I'm just saying I'm too old for Vim and Emacs. I realize I never said hi to Cursiboo, said Lady Misleaf. Oh, did I say hi to Cursiboo? Hello, Cursiboo. Frank says, to be entirely honest, while I use Vim, I do recognize the existence assistance of other editors. You know what? This is more than I can ask for. I will, however, speak up when people try to edit code in something that really doesn't have any features. Yeah, that is true. I agree. And it's not just because you say, how stupid are you? It's more like, please let me help you. Why are you making things so hard on yourself? It's like when you see something like, Hypercard on the Macintosh. I watched Old Timey Computer Show recently, and it didn't have any code highlighting. And I feel like, or syntax highlighting. And nowadays I feel like, how can you program like this? How is this even possible? Of course, I also did my first websites for years in Microsoft Notepad, which had also no context highlighting or syntax highlighting or any help features like folding and things at all. And again, in the end, it's just let the program help you. It's not about let the program code for you. That's a different story, but just make it easier to spot mistakes. Absolutely, I agree. Lady Miscliff says, I'm at a point where I only want to learn things that interest me, and I have way too many interests. See, that's the good thing. If you want to learn about something that's keen to your interests, and you're not running out of anything there. I mean, the other way would be if you're bored and think, okay, I'm so bored. This is such a lazy Sunday. Let's try Emacs. Let's try to learn Emacs. The stream seems a bit choppy for me. Is it my end? I hope it is. Let's check. Yeah, my bit rate is a solid almost 5,000 kilobits per second, and it's all in the green, what I can tell. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it stays this way. Okay, Kirsty says, choppy occasionally for me too. Oh dear, okay. Let's see what's running in the background. Not much, actually. Maybe I should have rebooted before the stream. So let me know if it worsens, because then I will just break up and we have a 5-minute break while this beast reboots, and then I will try again. Frank says, I once tried building an adventure game in Hypercard. That's cool. So essentially you made your own Myst then. Very cool. Is it still around? I feel like Hypercard is such an overlooked but still so important way of or game development tool of the early 90s. So for those who don't know what Hypercard is, it's essentially a bit like hypertext, but the metaphor is it's all cards. So of course, and it was on the Macintosh, and the person, I think, was it Atkins? I don't know his first name, who developed Hypercard, was also the one who came up with the Atkins-Dither algorithm for the Macintosh, and he just recently passed this year, I think. Anyway, so Hypercard, essentially it is, you have a stack of cards. It could be text, can be images, can be even video or audio files, and if you interact with a certain part of the page, maybe you click on a link in the text, nowadays we call it links, or you click on a certain portion of the image, then something happens. So you can either go to a different card, or write to a variable, or store something and go to a different card, or play a sound and go to a different card. And yeah, you get how it works. And it was very user friendly, but I would liken it to nowadays is Game Maker, in a sense that everything was WYSIWYG, but of course you could have just loads and loads of code if you wanted to. It was not very performant, but I mean, most of these games were just like, okay, this is a picture, you can click here, and then it does its thing. And many adventure games like Myst were made using Hypercard, or the Journeyman Project, if anyone knows this game, or even, what was it, the Cinemaware game. It came from the desert. Actually, their system behind it was Hypercard-like, how they used to edit their stories. So yeah, again, very cool, very cool. Lady Miscliff says, I remember in college I had to write a 20-line function for a test on paper. Oh dear, I was so proud when I finally wrote a bit of code on a test with no mistakes, had all the semicolons and brackets. Yeah, I think that's the closest thing to to having an editor without syntax highlighting, is write it on paper, because you cannot just iteratively test it and run it and see where the compiler stops shouting at you at some point. It really has to work. It reminds me to the halcyon days of punch cards, right? Where you wrote your program out, then put it on punch cards, came with this big stack of punch cards to the data processor, and you would just hope that your program would run, and the next day you get back to the department and they would say, yeah, there was an error, here are your cards, try again. Frank also had some tests on paper, great fun. Yeah, I mean, nowadays I feel like even writing longhand is probably unusual for some people. The thing also had some single table, not sure, database stuff. People did use it for address books and the like too. Yeah, that's the thing, because Hypercard was this thing that, so essentially you had to have the Hypercard software, and then you could use stacks. So essentially the stacks is the user-generated content, and the Hypercard thing was just the engine. And it was used for games, but also for training, or as you said, for just things like keeping track of clients, and even I think there was even an accounting Hypercard-based accounting software or something, because it was rather ubiquitous, and again it only got even more and more multimedia features over the years, and this is why Mist was possible. And you could even specify which kind of transitions. So in Mist there are, I think it was Mist, or was it Genuine Project, where there were some futuristic sliding doors that would just slide open. And how would they do this? Well, if you click the door, it would load a different image of the same, a different rendering of the same scene, just with the door opened, but the scene transition would be this swipe from the center. So actually it would look like that the door would swing or slide open. I mean, it's wonderful. Chop. Oh no, really choppy. Okay, then I will. The thing here is with my bitrate and everything, it looks good. So, I mean, I can try to restart the stream. Maybe that will fix it. Should I restart just the stream or the computer altogether? I would just try to restart the stream. Maybe this helps it. So hopefully. And we should be back. Hopefully this changed it. So my bitrate here got reset. Maybe I should just turn down the bitrate. I'm just looking if anything is in the background syncing, but no, all my files are up to date. Hang on, is there maybe another Microsoft update going on? Because we all know Windows that the thing is, I also have this Microsoft Surface tablet, which is super for when you want to draw something on the go, and suddenly the mouse gets all choppy and you can't even draw, and it gets super hot and the battery drains. Yeah, this is when Microsoft decides, you know what, there's a new update, 2 gigabytes or something. You know what, maybe I just download it in the background on your metered connection. Sure, why not? So Windows update, you're all up to date. That's at least something. So, okay. Frank says we're back. I think we'll try to restart the stream, and hopefully, okay, stream ends. So apparently it cleared the buffer, but looks like I'm offline again. How is this? Oh dear. Look, I don't see anything. So just say looks like I'm offline. Please, can you confirm that I'm in fact still streaming? Because again, my stream health says it's all good. 0 dropped frames on my end. It must have to do with my connection. 2 viewers there, it tells me. So you know what? Maybe I should check. Okay, Kersey says hello. I see you. That's good, because I just wanted to check my internet connection. But yeah, that's good. I'm really sorry for this. I mean, what I can see is that there are occasional dips in my bitrate. So let me try to zoom in. There we go. So you can see here these little dips in bitrate. Maybe that's the reason why it's doing what it's doing. But yeah, I have no idea what is taking up bandwidth. I mean, I can run Task Manager in the background. I'm so sorry for good old technical difficulties. Frank says, the game was written in Dutch and I was triggered by a professor being upset because his microphone was lost. So the game starts out trying to solve his microphone theft. Oh, that's nice. But then the professor turns into a vampire and flies away. That's, you know what, I would like to play this game. I think with Google Translate or so, maybe I could make it work. I had to refresh the screen to see it again. Okay, maybe that's the thing. Good to know. Okay, so I will, if there aren't people who don't know this yet, please refresh the page if you still got a black screen. There we go. Oh, I mean, of course, they can read what you just wrote, Lady Miss Cliff. Of course, yeah. Think, Phil, think. It's not my strongest suit. But yeah, bitrate says all good. 5,000 kilobits per second. Maybe I need to lower the bitrate at some point. But yeah, let me see how this keeps progressing. Right, what else have I missed? We're back. Frank says, the game still seems to exist on the hard drive image I copied over when I retired the Mac and now use with an emulator. See, Frank, that's the cool thing about you. You got your websites and everything back from good old early days of your computing. You saved this all. Like you said, it's in an image somewhere and you have it. I really wish that I was a bit more focused when doing backups. I really started in 2003 or something to actually do more serious backups. And serious backups meant to burn on CDs and DVDs. So, but the stuff before that I only had on floppy disks, and I recently discovered my minidisc player and I thought, oh, there will be probably so many funny minidisc recordings of me and my friends back then, but I just overwrote them with random radio recordings and music that nowadays I have plenty thanks to the likes of Spotify and whatever else I still got. So yeah, sad. Frank says, the names of the professors in the game are anagrams of real ones. I'm not entirely sure I should publish. Okay, makes sense. I might try to make a small hard drive image with it on though. Okay, now I get it. Okay, so essentially you would just load this hard drive in a Mac emulator and then it would run. That's kind of cool. I rarely do proper backups as Lady Miss Leaf, but I've never had much worth backing up. You don't need to invest in backups if you don't have anything worth backing up. A friend of mine said, he was writing on things, and for the longest time, even in college, he had in his pockets floppy disks with what he was currently writing on, because he said, yeah, whenever, I don't know, the campus burns down, I still got the floppy in my pocket. I'm not sure if he had any kind of keychains with magnets on it and in the same pocket as the floppy disk, but I fear that something along those lines might have happened. So yeah, right, I wanted to show you what actually I was doing here. So, and for this I wanted to spin up, as I said, the PHP server. Frank died? Oh no. The automated unicorn tried to sneeze quietly. Okay, Frank died or the stream died? The stream died. Oh dear. Lady Miss Liv says, I always have a notepad, physical, not an application, in my purse in case. Paper notes. My god, this is... I'm currently playing Clair Obscur, and these are my notes. So yeah. Okay, this adventure game is unfair. Good to know. In your own adventure game, you mean you died. I was just a little bit worried that again the stream died. Okay, it's an old school adventure game where where the game hates the players. I mean, this was very common because we didn't know any better back then. So web programming, where is it? There we go. Run PHP. And now I can show you what the result of this page is. It's this. It creates just this one single page. You probably are wondering, why is this not just plain HTML and why does it have to be PHP and hundreds of lines of PHP just to make this? Yeah, the thing is, I wanted to again make some sort of super micro blogging thing where essentially all my little micro fiction attempts, let's call them like this, my stories are there. I published some on Mastodon and Blue Sky, and thought, you know what, it would be nice if they aren't floating around somewhere randomly, but where I have them nice and contained. So for this, again, I wanted to have some sort of blog, and I needed a break from my game and everything else. So I thought, yeah, how long can this take to just come up with a very simple markup language? So the markup language for this looks like thus. So essentially what it does is it should read text files that look like this, that have a header here and then the content, and out of this it makes HTML files. So let me do the context highlighting here. Pixel Prose I called it. So essentially it's very simple. It has here a header that has these 3 dashes to open it and 3 more to close it. Then there's support for comment or line comments throughout. So as soon as something starts with 2 slashes, the line is completely ignored. And of course, when it can have commented lines in between the actual prose text, and of course it turns paragraphs of text into proper HTML paragraphs. So essentially this gets wrapped in p tags in HTML, and of course it adds for this meta information like started or modified. So if again, these are all optional, so I can just disable them should I actually need them or don't need them. And again, yeah, what the idea is to just have a bunch of text files on the server that look like this, and they get dynamically created by this little PHP site. So that is the idea. We're choppy again. Oh dear. Again, I really don't know what I should be doing, or right, I know what I should be doing. I should monitor at least my network. Ethernet, there we go. My network throughput, because I think maybe when something here is dropping, I mean, I'm sending and I'm receiving. So, I mean, this looks good. So I will just keep this there on the other screen and hopefully can maybe detect when there's a dip somewhere, or at least I can see what's causing it, or that it's on my end. But I'm sorry for this. I didn't change anything in my setup, really. DC says I had to stop using notebooks so much because my notes are so wide I would run through them. That's a different problem that I have. My problem is that I rarely fill up notebooks. I mean, I used to be a copious note taker, but over the years, less and less, and now it's more like journaling. And for that, I have my, as you know, some of you know, my wispy longhand. But yeah, the only thing that I actually or frequently take notes on when I'm not working on games, where it also helps to think on paper, is when I'm playing games and doing quests or just any notes, taking notes down. So but yeah, I wish I had the problem, because I have so many unused notebooks. Like I said, a lifetime of notebooks from stationery shops because I just love to buy them. I once dreamed, says Lady Miss Sleeve, of drawing comics and was thinking of having a Tumblr blog where a side character shares his thoughts as a side story. I like this meta approach. This would be cool. Okay, it gets choppy like once every 5 minutes or so. Okay, so I will just monitor whatever is going on here. I mean, we have here these spikes, and when I look at the details, memory architecture, well, that's not helpful. Performance network, so it's OBS Studio, Firefox, and Dropbox. And Dropbox, I have Steam open. Maybe that's the thing, that in the background Steam is doing something. I mean, it could be, even if it's not, it's at least better than then randomly, I don't know, GTA 5 updating for 30 gigs or something. Okay, thank you for confirming and letting me know whenever it gets choppy. Maybe I can get to the bottom of it. What is, maybe our oven is updating new firmware. This or was it the washing machine? One thing updated its firmware and was like using up all the bandwidth that we have. Okay, so as you can see, you would ask, Phil, why are you doing this? This clearly is already working. You have here your title and the metadata at the bottom. What is there still to be done? Yeah, the thing is, I wrote this up in the middle of the night as I was returning from the kid's birthday and needed just something to clear my mind. And the best way to clear your mind is to invent your own problems that you solve. We call it programming. And yeah, for this, what I have is I wrote here my content out as a string. So essentially it's not reading any files yet. It just has here the entire thing here as a string. And when I say, for example, I disable here the author and maybe even the title, and save this and reload the page, then it says untitled by an unnamed author, just to make sure that, okay, everything is getting parsed and most of the fields are optional so that it doesn't just spew out PHP errors. I think we've all been there where on a site, where on top of the site you couldn't even get to the actual content because it hadn't been updated in years and all you get is like reams of PHP warnings. So what is currently working, I can quickly walk you through how this looks like. Essentially, it's just a simple parser. So when you start the page, the actual page happens all the way down here. So doc type HTML, this is where the actual page is starting. So you can see here all what's above here is PHP functions, and most of this is just the CSS style. So all it does is construct page from page data, and the page data here is run before the header even, so because then we can use the title of the story in the header. And the page data says here parse page. So parse page is where the magic happens. Let me give you here a quick overview. So parse page, is this large enough that you can follow? I make it a bit bigger. So essentially I'm just using the new line character as a separator and then have the entire text file or whatever it is. I just parse it into, I just clip it, make it an array of lines, of individual lines of text. And yeah, if there are less than 2 lines, probably there's an error and I print out an error. And but if there is not, I just parse whatever is there. And for parsing, I'm using a simple state machine. So this is what is happening here. So parsing is true. So while parsing equals true, then we do the parsing. The mode is just a string for now. This probably should have been an enum, but for now it's just depending on where you are in the actual document to parse it. And I have here my key line. The key for the line comment is just these 2 slashes. The delimiter for the header start, 3 dashes, and the header end, 3 dashes, as you can see here. So essentially what we do is we just see how many lines there are, and sometimes I need to look at the next line. So this is why here we fetch the first line, and right after we fetch the next line, if there is a next line. If not, then the next line is null. Okay, a state machine we would never have guessed. You know what? It took me kind of long to arrive at this idea of state machines when doing text parsing. I mean, nowadays, of course, everyone thinks, duh, it's the most obvious thing to do. But before that, I had lots of if and thens in my parsing attempts. This was thankfully years back, but text parsing is really something, or string parsing, that I've been doing, I feel like, more than game dev, because I'm doing so many tools for myself, and most of it is just string parsing. So yeah, we just fetch the next line, the current line, and the next line. And I have here a trimmed line, because when there is white space around it, you want to trim it. So if there, see, this I really felt dirty when I used this good go-to statement, because I think it has been instilled in anyone even remotely interested in computer sciences. Do not use go-tos. It's a clear sign of a rotted mind, and you should commit yourself while you still can before others do it. So I'm using a go-to here. Why am I using a go-to? Because it saves me like 4 lines of duplicated code. So what the go-to does is, okay, if a line starts with a comment, just go to the next line. And the go-to is here right at the end of this while check. So if there is a next line, just the current line is the next line, and then otherwise we say, okay, we stop with the parsing. That's it. And here, this is the good old state machine where we switch on the current mode. So when we are here in the start, then we look for the header. So if there is 3 dashes, then we know, okay, we're in the header, and then we just switch the mode. When we're in the header mode, we keep reading lines and add this to an array. Of course, if the line is empty, we just skip it. Otherwise, we keep pushing it to an array. And once we happen upon the header ending, so essentially I'm just adding this line to an array, this line until we are here. So until the entire header has been read. This again is an array of strings, and we pass it to parse header. Parse header itself, well, what does it do? It has here keys for title, layout, started, and all the things that I already have here, and it just parses them into a key value pair. So essentially that is YAML. So my delimiter or my separator is here just the colon, and we have here the keywords, and whatever comes after a known keyword will be put into this array. So essentially I'm inputting here an array of strings, and out comes an array of key values. This is all my header. And once the header is done, we are here at the content, and the content it just reads line after line until the end of the file or the end of the input string. And if a line is empty, this is a special case, and I want to change this for now. So if you have here, for example, there is I don't want just a break here in after this paragraph, but I actually want a paragraph break where there is an empty line between paragraphs. Let me quickly show you what this means. So there I just hit enter, and now I have here more space between them, because again I don't want to have any sort of HTML markup when I'm writing. I just want to hit enter, have an empty line there, and it should retain this empty line. So visually it's all good what happens. Programmatically it's not that elegant, let's say. Because instead of just increasing the margin at the end of the upper paragraph or increasing a margin at the top of the following paragraph, what actually I do is I insert a paragraph of class paragraph break that itself has a content of just a little dash and an opacity set to 0. So essentially I'm inserting a paragraph with any letter there at all, so just that it gets printed, and then I make it invisible. So essentially I've added another paragraph that's just not visible, but just there for the spacing. Again, it's not a very elegant way of doing things, and I did this before I implemented looking at the next line. So now that in my implementation that I always know what the next line will be, I can say, okay, if the next line is going to be empty, you know what, then tell this the current paragraph that it needs to be longer, or that there needs to be a margin at the end. And essentially that's it. So as soon as I have parsed all these things, or in this case here the content is again a content array, it reads all the lines there in the content. Because I have here a line break, it's just, in this case, it's just 3 lines. One of them is a comment, and a 4th line, well, is empty. So essentially it just reads line after line and wraps it in a p tag. And here at the very end, it just says, okay, we get the header and the content array and the content HTML. This is actually where it creates the site. And construct page from data is, now that we have everything in a data structure, we parsed it from text to a data structure. Well, I can just say, okay, here the title, and I have here this function that I call saveGet, which means, okay, I'm assuming that title is not commented out. But if it is, it will default to untitled. This is just to make sure that PHP doesn't complain, hey, you want to read a value from a key that does not exist. And yeah, just to save myself from having this boilerplate code everywhere, I just made a function out of it that's called saveGet. So you pass it the array, what key you want to look at, and if it's not found in this key, it just returns either an empty string or whatever you have here as a default. That's it. And out pops some HTML, where it says here class of h1 of title is, you've guessed it, the title. And here this is again just optional. So if there is a in the header a meta value for started, in this case there is, then create a little div with the started, and if there's with publish, do the same thing and then close everything up. And here in the end, just write this to a HTML file. Ta-da! Simple as it is. And Kersey redeemed unicorn. Lady Misliff said, alrighty, I gotta go, have fun, and thanks for the chat. As always, thank you for dropping by, and I wish you a wonderful week. And yeah, send my regards to Winter as well. And yeah, of course, bye-bye. Sorry, I didn't say bye-bye. Kersey says, if you do CS degree, you may first learn state machines through text parsing. It's a good fit. Indeed it is. Because I'm doing things, what's the word, kind of gonzo with my programming. So everything just figuring things out on my own. I mean, when I say figuring things out on my own, I just, whatever I find in knowledge, I read and hopefully I contain. So it's not just trying to reinvent the wheel every time. But using state machines for text parsing, as soon as I realized that it's a great fit, not just for, I don't know, game characters, so I came the other way around from it. Of course, it makes sense, because everything depends on what came before it, and you can just switch on it. Okay, are we still in the header? Yes, then treat the text differently as once we're outside the header, and maybe we can even say here, we can even have a footer, should need be for one, but there is not. So, right, how to make this single page of a blog, or a blog out of it. Right, Kersey, sorry, you redeemed unicorn, and I didn't even have a sip of my trademark H2O. Now I did. Wonderful. By the way, really, programming and streaming is working wonders on my tensed up shoulder. Who would have thought? So yeah, to make a blog out of this, first thing that I want to do is, instead of just hard coding it as a string, which worked for development, I want to read an actual text file that is somewhere on the server there. And the thing is, now is again the question is, do I want to construct the page from this, every page from this index.html? Because then of course I need another state machine on top of the state machines to just say, okay, is this an index of all the articles that are there? Is this a page? Is this the next page or something? So for now we'll just say, okay, everything I squeeze into the good old index.php, and if for some reason it does not work out anymore, I will reconsider. But for now, that's what I start programming with. So the other thing is, right, so first thing is reading stories. And for this, it needs to know where on the server will be the stories. And I think for now, it's best if I just have here a subfolder called stories. And whatever text file is in there, it will treat as a story. So for this, I was already clever and imported functions for reading, filtering files in the directory or reading files in a directory from previous. With HTML, with PHP, I always feel like I have to Google for every individual function that I want, because I'm so used to doing, I don't know, JavaScript or Game Maker, that whenever I feel like, okay, I just want to get the, I don't know, an array's length, and then I have, I don't know, array.length is how you would do this in JavaScript, right? Then, oh right, it's not working. I'm programming in PHP, right? I have to make that's a variable. Okay, this doesn't work. Oh right, it's an object, right? So then I have to do something like this. Oh no, that's also wrong. I have actually, it's not length. Yeah, then I figure out it's maybe it's something like length, right? Also doesn't work. No, it's count. And here we have it again. And so I do this little dance, I feel like, way too often. And so I resorted to just, whenever I do something with a PHP, despite having done it multiple times, I feel so insecure. So this is why I always have another browser open where I just say, okay, array PHP, how to get length. It feels... I need to get back into it. That's the thing. So again, I have here my two functions. Let's filter files in directory. So even have here a regex for rejections, can say which formats are supported. So this is actually from my press kit. So for now, we just say text files, please. And is dir empty. Of course, we want to skip empty directories. This again is from my press kit, so it might need to be adjusted somehow. So yeah, where are we? Where should we put this in the page? So right now I have everything here that is this hard-coded content right here on top. So maybe I want to have certain things like configuration. That would make sense that this goes on top. And let's define a constant that is called stories path. And this is just stories. And then actually we can try and see if it already reads this directory or returns whatever we need in this directory. So, okay, filter files in directory, add trailing slash if missing, filtered, get all files if, and return filtered. So I can, let's say, files is filter files in dir, and the dir is stories path. And then we just print it out, we echo it out, and for this I always make this pre-formatted block, and in there I have this var dump where it just dumps files in this case. Okay, let's see where the error is. Parse error, unexpected token. Oh, var, yeah, underscore. There we go. And look at this, it already works. We got here the string of stories and the text files. So shouldn't be too hard to get the contents of the text files, right? So then I just say function get all story files, path to stories, and essentially that's what is happening here, what I did. So return filter files in dir from the path to stories. So first we say, okay, get all story files, and already have an error. Oh yeah, good old PHP. If you forget a semicolon, everything hates you. So what if I create another file here just to see that it's working, that I call something else? We have something else, and if I change the extension from txt to, I don't know, bak, Then it does not show up anymore. Beautiful. Okay, this is working. In the long run, maybe I can find a way to say, hey, please sort me all the files by file name, or instead do all the files, let me do a custom sorting of these files. I mean, right now it would make sense, for example, to sort them as when written by or when published. I think when published would make the most sense. Anyway, that's for future fill. Right now I need to read the contents of a story file. So then, yeah, how do I do this? And I'm back at Googling. So PHP, how to read file contents. Oh, read file, this makes sense. And you see, whenever I'm doing PHP programming, most of the things that I've Googled before, I already know because the link is purple, which means I have already clicked it. So include files, include path, maximum length of data read, warning, we return false, but return non. Yeah, that's so PHP that you cannot trust what you get back. For example, if you read, when you want to try to read from an array a value and you get returned the value false, you cannot be sure, okay, is the return value at this position in the array actually false, or did the read just not work? So yeah. It's PHP is these kinds of things. Okay, so this function is similar to file, except it returns the file in a string. So essentially just get file contents is what we want. Kersey says that feeling when it's future feels responsibility. Exactly. so often it happens. And I've grown to be much nicer to future fill. I started writing lots of documentation for future fill. I think I've showed it in the last streams or last couple of streams where it's notes to future fill where I say, okay, you think it's working like this, but for reasons A, B, and C, it actually working like this and has the following gotchas. And instead of doing in addition to doing inline comments like add trailing slash if missing or something, I try to outline the broad architecture of things, how things work together. Essentially like how I told you how my page here, how this PHP actually works from a top-down level. And then like when we want to go into the weeds of things, then it's the inline comments. But the hardest part to me is always when I get to an old project and have to read essentially pretty much all of the code to regain my mental image of how the code is actually structured, how the architecture is. It would have helped me present fill much more if past fill had taken maybe half an hour to write it all down, and especially how things you would expect to work and what things aren't working that you probably don't expect right off the bat. And Limbonaut is here. Hello world, says Limbonaut. Hello Limbonaut. Oh, coffee. Well then, even I shall have some coffee. Last sip of this is actually my first coffee today, and it's now a 10:15 p.m. So yeah, this one literally what's the word? Accompanied me. That's the word. Accompanied me through the day. Right. Okay. So Limbonaut, if you're welcome, if you're new here, what I'm going to do is start here my microblogging thing that just reads a bunch of text files that are on the server and creates a nice looking thing out of them. So the text file itself looks like thus. So essentially it has a header with some keywords and then the content of the story, and the idea is that it prints out this story. So right now I just want to make sure that I'm able to read all these text files. So for now we only have one text file, so just to test things out. For now I have the content here hard coded that is actually also in the text file. So instead let's delete this here so that I know it's different, and this is just hard coded. This story of some values that are not outside the source code. So when I do this, yeah, it's hard coded. Actually kind of nice looking. So because then I know that I'm actually reading the file here and not what I already have hard coded. So we get all the story files. This will be an array. And so let's just say file is just the first that we get from here. Var dump file. And just this one here is just a string. So where was I? Get file contents. Okay, string the file name, use include path, resource. So just get file contents. So var dump get file get contents. Does this work? Yes, it works. Look at this. Everything is here like it should. So we can say file, let's say file contents is file get contents. Or let's make this, let's assume that there are more files than one. So files contents, and here we called here content is whatever is here. I will delete this now just to make sure. We will get an error. Parsing line 10. Var dump files 0 file contents. Oh, semicolon. Undefined variable in content. Good. Okay, so now we say content is the file contents. Just to see whether it's working, and yes, now it's whatever is in the text file and not what was here on my header. So this is for debugging purposes. So what actually do we want? When there are more than one story in this folder, maybe we should either generate a index first, then you can click a story and get to the page of this story. I think this would make sense, or we can just start on a random story and you have next and previous buttons and to go there. But for this, it would mean first we need to get the entire listing of all the files in the stories, I think. And maybe we could even, I mean, if it's a static site, we can open all files and extract the header data out of it, and then just, I don't know, read all the titles and sort them by publication date if it exists. I think this would make sense. Since this is now a very dynamic page, every time you do this, you have the server has to do some work and open all the files that there are. The good thing is I don't think I will have thousands upon thousands of small text files, so that it takes a while. And so maybe I can even cache it at some point and make it static. But for now, let's just keep it dynamic, especially when we're developing it. So for this, probably it would help if I have another story in the same vein. And so I'm just going to copy paste this, change here my language to fill prose. And what else can I do? Because already have here a slightly longer story. That I can paste, and I called it, what was it? The Fool's Gash. And it was started on 30th January and I published it. What was it? 3 days ago, I think. Modified is not very important. And paste. And essentially, this should have been it. Fool's Gash. So let's give it a try. And it should still read cold sun, but if I say please do the other file, I don't even need to do this var dump anymore. Then we have a problem. Oh right, I didn't save it as text file. That's the thing. So there we go. Okay, good. Good on one hand, bad on the other, because you see, it's too long for the page. It's too long for the page, because since I thought I would be writing microfiction, so that microfiction implies that it should fit on one page. But in this case, it does not, and it extends above the page. So at a certain point I would say, okay, if the text box is larger than the page, don't try to center it, just position it on top. Limonon says, are you making a site for those stories you shared on social recently? Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Thank you for following and reading maybe these stories. Yeah, I thought it would be nice to have them all in one place, and I don't want to have a huge, I don't know, WordPress or something. And I just need a very, very simple blogging service, essentially, that I can just control myself. And whenever I have something new, I just put in a text file, upload it into the correct directory, maybe even automate it, and then ta-da, it's there. So for now, this means debugging CSS before doing anything else. Beautiful. Okay, so my CSS, it works like this. So the page is here compartmentalized in a couple of divs. So we have the main page div, then the main story div, and there is the title and the author, and the actual content is here. So we have here some paragraph breaks. Again, these I also want to take care of. And afterwards we have, okay, when was this created and when was this published? So everything here is in this main story div, which itself sits here in main page div. So first have a look at main page div. So I have here a maximum width. Let's make this a bit bigger, hopefully that you can read it and don't have to squint all the time. So the maximum width is 27 EM. That's good. The margin that I have also works. The problem here, I think, has to do here with the flex, because I'm aligning it centered. But what to do if it's larger than the site? So I need to have some sort of when it's larger than the site, when it's taller than what's visible in the viewport. Darn it, that's again something. So I have here the height is, maybe it has to do with the height, because if I disable here, the height is actually, the view height is 89% of whatever the height is. So this means it pushes it up, and that's the problem. So the height, of course, if it's shorter, then it's just squished to the top. And I thought I just really want to something that's super simple, that is always nicely centered, that is roughly not in the dead center of some of the page, but slightly above on the, what's it called, the pleasant, the aesthetic center or something. So let me try, and here in the content, delete just some paragraphs. To make it shorter, and when there aren't enough paragraphs, then it really sticks there to the top with a zero padding or margin. So and this is here the main page. So the main page, I can say that the height is not see here, when I say the height is 89% of the view height, it looks good. So whenever you think you're done with CSS, it bites you in the ass. So let's say if I say 100%, maybe that's already it, because now it looks good. So if I restart it, reload the page, and again say the height is 100%, then we have the same problem, because I'm aligning the items here at center. Because I'm using Flexbox to align the items, and the Flexbox layout guide, this if it were a book, this side is this would be the page where the spine is broken on the book, because I've been referencing it for so many years, so often, and always have to look it up. So I want to change here the start of the items. So right now I'm saying I want to justify them in center. Or here I'm aligning them at center. Is it align items or justify items? Ah, dear. So align items, and when I say justify items, center, it looks like it should. Then let's delete some paragraphs, and it's still at the top. Probably because I don't even need here this center, because this, it says here has no effect on this element since it's not a grid container. Should I make this a grid container then? Okay, I have to think about what I actually want of this. So when I have less than a page's height full of content, it should be roughly in the center. And the longer it grows, the more it should still be centered. And as soon as we exhaust the entire height of the page, there should be some margin on top. That's for one. Okay, so let's overwrite here. Margin top is 2 EM. This would be the minimum. I think we can write this already into the CSS of the site, which I have here at the bottom. Head, style, the main page div. So the height, let's say 100%. This is what we had. And margin top 2 EM. So yeah, this somewhat works. No, it does not. So here for the content, where am I wrong? So align item center, that's the thing again. Screw is, I'm going to Google. CSS if height exceeds viewport height. Why is the height exceeding the viewport? That's good old Stack Overflow, right? I'm not even looking at the question anymore. I'm just looking at the answers. So instead of using height units, try this rule, DVH, which is dynamic viewport height, and the size will be automatically adjusted in response to the mobile browser's UI state. If your browser address, as of January, it's supported by 90% of users worldwide. Okay, that's good for me. DVH. Never heard this before. So let's try this. 89 DVH. Was it correct? DVH. Invalid property value. Oh, DVH, not DHV. So this actually kind of looks good. When I say align center, it does not look good. And Kirsty says, wait, what do you want, to shrink text size or something? Actually, no. The idea is right now when the text exceeds the height of the viewport, as in this case, this is looking correct. Maybe there's a bit too much white space at the bottom, but yeah, don't mind this. But if there is less text, then it should start to center what is here. So let me delete some paragraphs. And right now it's just folding in upwards. But what I had before, at least when there was less text, then would fill the entire page. If I can find it here, then I could say align center here in the flex box, and this is how I want it to look. Of course, as soon as it gets longer, at some point I need to have a break where it changes. So if can I insert some edit as H? Yeah, when I reload this, you see what is happening. Because this is centered in the viewport, I cannot scroll up anymore and get to the start of the page. It just goes downwards, which is kind of weird, but I mean, this is CSS, and at some level it makes perfect sense, just not to me when you're trying to work with this. So I think, again, the idea is, or the problem is, that I'm centering it via this the align items center here. So maybe if I don't say it's no flex, it's not being centered, maybe then I can find a way of doing things. Usually I love me a good flexbox, but if I can't get it to work. I mean, this again is such a low priority problem, but for me it always hangs me up until I've somehow figured it out. The other would be, wasn't there some way of changing the margin overall? So let's see how the boxes actually look like. So the main page div is always, you can see here in yellow is the margin, and the blue is the content. So I could shrink or expand the content at the bottom, maybe. And then automatically size the top and bottom so that it's centering things in CSS or in HTML. Kirsty says, I'm sure not sure how to make dynamic spacing thing. Yeah, that's again, it feels like a logic puzzle with CSS. I mean, here are all the individual components. Make it just fiddle them around and combine them until it looks like how you want it to look. And since this is CSS, you add something else and suddenly everything breaks again. So, I mean, it sounds kind of straightforward. All I want to do is keep growing upwards and downwards until it can only grow downwards. This sounds like such a simple thing, but you know what, for that we make some actual progress with PHP, I will just disable the display flex and the align items at center. So display flex, align items center. I will just take this out. And so we have good old scrolly here. And if we open up the first file, which is shorter, it will stick to the top, but not too much. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I can actually live with this. The only thing here is, where are my, oh, there we go. My metadata, where I said, okay, I started it and I published it at this year. I thought there was an error, but yeah, I just had disabled it. Right, one thing that also I just realized is, you see there is lots of space in between. So again, maybe this could be something that I should have tackled earlier. Yeah, you know what, let's do this, where instead of inserting a paragraph that is just has an invisible character, so just that the spacing is correct, let's add this to the paragraph itself. Right, okay, so again, how it's done currently is when I'm parsing here the page and I'm coming across an empty line, I just say, okay, hey, this is an empty line, but I wrote this part here before I already knew what the next line would be. So if the current line is not empty, inside there I say, okay, if the next line, or let's say trim the next line, if the trimmed next line is empty, does this work like this with trim? Okay, if next line trim is empty, then we say, we push the current line and say true for next is empty, maybe. Else, otherwise we say, or let's say false, and by default it's true. Thank you, Kirsty. Of course it does help. I'm always grateful for having a programming buddy looking out for me and my hydration status. I should drink more, it's healthy, and it's fun, and you get your steps in because you'll be running to the bathroom ever so often. So if the line is not empty, the current line is not empty, but the next line is empty, then we push it with an argument of false. I haven't implemented this argument yet, but wait, what? No, moment. Hang on. I'm not calling a function, I'm just pushing to an array. I'm pushing to the content array. Oh dear, this got a little bit problematic faster, because right now as I'm doing it, I'm saying, okay, here is an empty, the next line is empty. And then I just using here a made up token. So this way I can insert an empty paragraph, so to speak. What I want to say now is, okay, I know the current line is not empty, but the next line will be empty, which means I want just some additional space on the paragraph. How can I tell this? You know what? I do not need here in the content, I need not to tell the array. I don't need to store it in the array any different, because I can just store the empty line in the array. So even if the line is empty, I will store it in the array. That's the thing. So I can take this out. Then I don't care about what the next line is. I'm just going to store everything that here is in the content in the array. And once this is done, I will say parse content. And that's where all this HTML markup actually happens. And here in parse content, there I can look into the, I can process the content array, the lines of strings individually or better. So parse content, where is parse content? Parse content. Oh yeah, there we are. So currently I'm doing for each array as line, and if the line is an empty line, then we create here this paragraph break. Otherwise we do this. Okay, if I take it out and just create a paragraph, and let's see how this, oh, probably need to have a different, I have a different source file. Let's go here with this cold sun, because here it says this is a comment right in the middle and an empty line, and an empty line at the end as well. That's okay, that's interesting. Oh god, parsing things. There are again so many edge cases. Frank says, okay, I have a kind of minimal boot image of my adventure game and I put it on Discord. Wow, congratulations, Frank. This was quick. So do we have to look at or put it in some sort of emulator, I would think. It's in Dutch. It's a Mac disk image, bootable with some minimal instructions on how to get it going using an emulator. I also included the needed ROM files. Oh, thank you very much. The game is unfair. Names in the game are anagrams of real names. Please do not distribute widely. Thank you so much. And it's just 2 megs. Should we look at it right now? Continue to download. Right. I want to get this empty line thing fixed. And as for emulators, I have so many emulators. I'm sure I can find one. So quick launch. No, not that. I'm just looking for my folder with the emulators. There we go. So I have here, is it Apple II or is it Apple Macintosh? I think it's Macintosh, right? So Basilisk 2 and Sheep Shaver. Just don't expect anyone to understand what's going on, including me. This is very much past Frank. Okay, good to know. If you want to play it on stream, that's fine. Okay, good. Okay, it's Macintosh. I mean, since Apple II, I don't think there's an Apple II Hypercard stack. Okay, Basilisk 2 should work. I'm having different experiences with these emulators. Whether it works or not, cannot open the ROM file. Right, so Microaventure. So, and there's a README, okay. Mini VMAC, download VMAC from, okay, VMAC probably then, run VMAC image using Basilisk 2, find Basilisk 2 somewhere, open a console window of some kind, cd to this directory or config. Good, okay then. Basilisk 2. Don't I have this somewhere? Sheep shaver. I thought I already had this wired up. Anyway, you know what? Let's give this a try. So CD desktop, CD. So where's my Basilisk 2? Basilisk 2.exe, and what did it say? Config, right. Nice, look at this. This was quick. How can I make this larger? It's a good old problem that we're having again, is I'm running this and it's not large enough. But the good thing is here, even that when I'm zoomed in, it almost is zoomed into the Macintosh resolution, which is kind of cool. So, and there's even Hypercard already installed there. Installiert. Is this also Dutch or is this just German? Should I run Hypercard or can I just run these files here? Since they're stacks. All right. This I have to translate, of course, so that I can read it out to you. Need a Big Mac, not this small thing. Okay. Big Mac. You need a Big Mac. Alrighty, then let's play it now since I have it open. And with my good friend Google Translate, no, it's not Japanese English, it's Dutch English. And so what does it say? You are a police officer in Diepenbeek. A man comes in and says, "Damn it, my microphone is gone, and if it's not back, you and the whole crew will be sanctioned." He walks away again. After a while, you recover from the surprise of this apparition and think carefully. Since you don't know who this gentleman is, you ignore it and continue playing cards with your colleagues. Suddenly, the phone rings. You answer, and the voice of the commissioner calls out, "Why haven't you started yet? Now we've been punished, and we have to." And there it's, oh yeah, we've been punished, and we have to water the LUC cacti. You're the first in line. Okay, about this game and go to the LUC. So over that spiel says the micro adventure by Frank Gewarts, created with Hypercard in October 1994. Find a missing microphone. Any resemblance to actual persons or situations is purely coincidental. Okay, LUC is the local university. University. My Dutch. Oh, thank you for saying my Dutch. I only know it from hearing, and I mean I had a 3-day course in Amsterdam 2 years back, so this is all my Dutch. Okay, so we are here in the Agora. These are the cacti. Brandslang. I have no idea what this is. Oh, fire hose. We have a telephone, and we have enable cord. Please, what is enable cord? This okay, I mean you're translating it very fluently. Oh, thank you. Well, that of course is. And down here it says, okay, to the classrooms and desks, and cafeteria, and boeken is books, right? Yeah, books. Good. Okay, then let's see what's here in the garbage can. Oh, look at this. Je vindt dit stukje papier. I think even without looking, please translate it. Yeah, you find this piece of paper. This makes sense. Okay, so it's something micro. Maybe we want to take a screenshot of this. There we go. By the way, since I'm still zoomed in, this is now the size of the screenshot here. Okay, cool. We have found something. Or we could call that number. Let's try and call this number. Hello, you are speaking to the automatic answering machine of Professor Dr. de Moritur. I'm not home right now, sorry. Okay, so we know that this is Dr. de Moritur. And something micro, probably phone. Okay, back to the Agora. So already forgot what the professor's name was. Anyway, we can call again, because here is sorry, maar je kent geen enkel. You don't know any phone number and you don't have a telecard. Oh my god, a telecard. Hello Martijn. Yes, this is from 1994. It's Frank's adventure made in Hypercard, not Hyperstack. So let's go to the cafeteria. I deny everything. I'm sorry. Or should we look at the cacti? Idiot! Je hebt je geprickt. I think even without knowing Dutch, I think this is, I just stung myself. I mean, it makes sense. So, okay, let's have a look at the cafeteria. Oh, the cafeteria is nu gesloten. It's not open. I mean, it's very close to a certain a mixture of all German dialects, I feel like. Yeah, this rules, doesn't it? Because, I mean, it can't get any more retro than playing a Hypercard game on a Mac. And it has this nice, I don't know, this friendly Macintosh appeal to it, of everything. Okay, let's have a look at the Boken. Okay, Naturkunde. So nature science, computers, biology, vampires, programming, algebra, and informatica. Oh, alles over Vampires. There we go. Vampire bats, Desmodontidae. The mammalian family of 3 species of small bats in Central and South America. With their razor-sharp teeth, they inflict wounds on the skin of birds and mammals to lick the blood. Vampire, a bat-like figure from folklore primarily among Slavic peoples, interpreted as a dead person who leaves their grave at night to feed on the blood of a living person. Victims are said to become vampires themselves. So it's vampire bats or vampires, and there's apparently a clear difference between them. Martijn says, you know what brandslang is. Now there is a window on top of the chat, and I think it was the fire hose. I already had it here with Google Translate translated. If that resembles German, so it's a fire snake, right? Slang is probably snake. Often Dutch is a mix of German and English, and if it's not, it's French. Frank says, I think I might have copied some of this straight from some dictionary. I mean, it sounds a little bit like this. You translated it already. DC says, machine translation has gotten so good, at least it sounds good. That's the thing. I don't know if any of this seems correct, but it sounds correct. And terror means back. Okay, so we have here vampires. Can I click anything else? So here is when we need to look at vampires then. So what else? To the offices, I think this was called. Let's have a look at, okay, age 6, age 5, and age 4. Yeah, Teruch ist zurück. Yeah, that's almost kind of similar. Martijn says, yeah, but slang is not only snake, but also hose or tube. Okay. So, yeah, the thing is there something, I think also with German and hose and snake, wasn't, yeah, I think some or two words that sound utterly bonkers when you literally translate it to English speakers. Also has this thing where snake and hose is the same thing. So, well, let's look at age 6. There is no class now, the room is closed. Age 5, same thing. Same thing. Okay, so those are the classes then. Oh, and here are the offices. And those are the different people that I think we called this office, right? Before. And the door is ajar and there is no one. Chabinnen. Oh, I love this. Also with the patterns there. I recall these kinds of patterns that you could select. Okay, so this is also a Macintosh there on the table with a mouse. That's nice. I'm not sure if I ever showed this to anyone before. Okay, you can get into the classrooms later. And it's 3D. Can I look? See, this I love about these Hypercard games, because something looks like a container, and look at this, it is a container. Okay, what is here? So this must be his notebook. Don't forget to call the principal. Ask Marskaba what he plans to do with that thing, and going to conference next week. Okay, the thing is, since we're looking for a stolen microphone, maybe Maskaba knows what we're talking about. What's in this here? Okay, this one is empty. Anything there in the bin? Scope. Oh, it's the microscope and not the microphone, because we found another part of this. Let's go back. Of this here, and it's micro. And we called this number, and it was this professor, right? But it's microscope and not microphone. That makes sense. Opening drawers is peak adventure gaming. It always feels so rewarding. I don't know. Back then, most people there had a Mac Classic. Makes sense. Martin says, I think you should be able to figure out most things without translation tools, really. I hope so too, but sometimes there are words where I'm not sure, and when I want to I don't want to assume incorrect things, because with adventure games, if you misunderstand something slightly, or there's a play on words or something, yeah, then you're screwed, especially if you don't know you're already wrong. Frank says, I can't remember who Marskaba is an anagram of probably for the best. Yeah, it's it's good when when these things are buried in the past. Okay, can we take here the fire hose? What is there? Dracula is a dirty thief. Een briefje, a note. Naar de brandslang. Okay, Dracula. Dracula is a dirty thief. Can we take this here? Oi! The principal comes in and tells you to keep your hands off that fire hose. He locks you in a storage room after consulting with the vice principal, Dr. de Moritur. Okay. Then we are here. We are locked. Oh. Pigs can count. Varkens können tellen. Okay, pigs can count. Ein schmutziger Dieb, says Martin. Yeah, that's German. Indeed, it's a filthy thief, a dirty thief. And Commander Stitch says, great to see you doing stuffs. Hope everyone is having a great day. Unicorns, thank you, Commander Stitch, for highlighting your message. And I think everyone is having a great time. Since I'm not working on programming right now, just playing a slightly older game, it's fun. Oh, it's getting intense, apparently. Okay, pigs can count. I hope some of you are keeping track of this, because this would be good old Phil note-taking time. So, anything else? Can we escape through the window? Yes, apparently we can. You're outside now. There is the way to Diepenbeek. And there's a parking place. You are now in the parking lot. There are no cars. I like how extensive this is. What's here with the bucket? Maybe this will come in later. Okay, what's here? Oh, wow, this opened up quite a lot. You are now in the center of Diepenbeek. The importance of Limburger, and Werdelburger. And this, it translates here to world citizen, so must be a play on words. I don't remember what the Counting Pigs is about. I mean, it's fine. It's a couple of years back. Wasserei and bread and pastry. So Wasserei is the laundry, Google tells me. Het Belang van Limburg is a newspaper. Oh, okay, good to know. It's all the burgers, says Martin. Oh, okay. So this is the paper, and Biggest theft of the century. What do the police do? Diepenbeek. A microphone was stolen from the LOC in Diepenbeek last night. Police are baffled but refuse to admit it. Oh, classic. This morning, an officer was spotted loitering near the firefighting systems in the Agora. The LUC's Central Hall. Where am I? The Central Hall of the LUC, and this officer showed great incompetence by poking himself several times on a cactus. I think this was us. Sinterklaas will arrive at the LUC tonight by helicopter. He'll land near the parking lot. Okay, this is why we need the parking lot for. Last week, a new party supplier store opened in Diepenbeek for all your costumes and pranks. Now at party suppliers, mustaches and beards, snorrige snorren and bardige barden. Okay, I like this. Maybe, what's here in the laundry? Can we go into the laundry? Yeah, you are in the laundry. Okay, nothing there yet. Can I go through here? By the Kapper at the hairdresser. Barbar de Barbier is good. I mean, Frank, you already had it with the puns. So, yeah, at the bakery there is nothing. Oh, what's with this door? Oh, there we go. There is the Snorrige Snor and the Bardige Bard. Okay, and these are Belgian francs from, I don't know what the currency was. This was before the euro, of course. So apparently we need to afford this. Did I just buy this? Maybe I just bought it. Cool. I think Belgian francs, right. Behold my portrait drawing skills. I mean, I already beheld it here with these. And let's have a look at the Snorrige Snor. It works. I mean, this is a righteous mustache and a beard here. So, and we're okay. I'm getting. You got both, I think. Looks like it, right? So, good thing is that I don't need to look into my inventory. So, I probably need to save at some point. Can I save here? Or am I just saving here the stack? Probably, I think it is what I'll be doing. Okay. Okay, the cafeteria is closed. I don't think saving is a thing. Okay, good, because I don't want to die again. So the fire hose, was there something, or did we, everything that we saw at the fire hose was already there? Okay, maybe here in the classes, did there something change? Je kan je niet inschrijven, want je hebt geen geld. So I don't have money and I cannot subscribe or inscribe. You can't register because you have no money. Because I spent all my money on the beard. I think. Okay, E is a long E, as is in German. Okay, niet and not niet. Niet. Okay, good to know. Thank you. Again, my all I know of Dutch is how it sounds. Okay, good. At least something is like in German. I do know how to get money if you need a hint. Yes, please. I'm probably shouldn't prick myself on the cacti again then. I mean, I can go here outside. Oh, there are cars now. What is here? What happened here? Okay, people probably are back in their offices. Does this make sense? I found out that earlier while testing if it works. So let's have a look there at the offices. Okay, now the bucket. Oh, Uitgang, the bucket. Okay, now we have a bucket of water. And can we water the cacti? Or what can we do with a bucket? Oh, click on a car. Okay. Oh, can I wash the car? Je hebt veel geld verdiend met autowassen. Yes, we have made some money by washing the cars. That's fun. Thank you, Frank. And now we can inscribe as a student, right? Who paid you? Probably the other cars. So what does it says here? Study now at a discount. Register at LUC. And now we can register as a student. Good. So, okay, now I'm a student. Now I can go to classes, right? That's the thing. Je hebt les van Osmo. You are taught by Osmo. Okay. Snechsais vet men van. No idea what this means. Also Google Translate does not like the cursive font. Oh, Snechsais knows more about it. Okay, good to know then. Thank you, Martijn. Then let's go here. De deur staat op en keer en is niemand. The door is ajar and there is no one. Oh, look at this. Scraps of paper. Help. Oh dear. Cursive font. It's a cursive font, indeed. Thank you, cursive, by the way. The plot thickens. Oh no, what happened to the poor computer? Oh no. So, scraps of paper. Okay. Snechsais. Apparently, something happened here. So, and Martijn, you even translated it to German. That's so nice. So should we look at Cosmic Osmo? Frank says you only looked at one of the 3 classrooms. Not sure if it matters. There's similar bits of text in the other ones. Not sure if you need them. Okay, so I thought, oh no, I have lost. Sorry, je hebt verloren. Welcome to Hypercard. Oh, okay, so now we're at home with Hypercard. So probably need to start the stack anew. Quit Hypercard. Weet, weiß, mehr. Yeah, that's very close to German. It's just funny to me how the Dutch resembles German much more than the English. Indeed, yeah, this is why as a German speaker, it always feels like I almost know what's being said, or at least I tell myself that I'm basically, if it's slowly spoken or if I meticulously read it out and verbalize it, I know what's being said. And no, I don't. I still need subtitles. So, okay, what did we achieve last time? So we tried calling here. We could inscribe, is momenteel gesloten. So the secretary the administration is currently closed. I think from that point you have to click on the door at the top, then you follow whoever is doing things. If you go back, you're too late. Okay, thank you that you still remember this. So what else? Okay, yes, I clicked here in briefje. Then I found here the pigs. I escaped, went to Diepenbeek, got the beard, returned, made some money, inscribed as a student, and then let's look right. This we know. Then age 5. Kan vliegen. Vliegen. Is this can fly? Oh dear. And age 4 says Dracula wordt bang. Gets scared. Okay, Dracula gets scared. Okay, Frank says this is from memory. But anything helps. So I was here. I looked at the help. Then I returned. Oh, and there is now, this door is open, right? Loopt jemand weg. Oh, someone is running away. It is Snechseis. Je staat nu op de parking. Snechseis verandert in een vleermuis en vliegt weg. So, is this a helicopter? And, okay, I have to translate this. You're now standing in the parking lot. Snechseis turns into a bat and flies away. Okay, Fledermaus in German, yeah. But can I use the helicopter now? There we go. That must be the bat. Oh, damn it, I'm out of gas. Darn it. Oh dear, I think I just crashed, right? Yes, dort in See. I'm in the sea. The helicopter sinkt on. The helicopter is sinking, and there is an island in Sicht. And there is an island that we can see. Okay, flying mouse, says Chris. Exactly. In German, we say to a bat, it's a flying mouse. It's a Fledermaus. Yeah. Also, Fleder is. I only know the word in German. This part Fleder is when you with double D's zerfleddern. If you just rip something apart and it hangs in rags. So it's really, I don't know what's it with German. Very A-team indeed. No one. Everything explodes. People just go. This is very the manhole. Je staat op het strand. Okay, I love that this game is really so wild. I thought, okay, this is maybe confined to like the university. Then we were outside in the town. Now we're in the middle of the ocean at an island. I have no idea what's happening next. Okay, so there is something there. Je bekijkt de besen. Het is duidelijk een heksenbesen. Duidelijk, does this mean deadly? Okay, this is a broom, or you have a broom. It's a lethal witch's broom, I think. Okay, Frank says it's just random. I have no idea what I was thinking. Yeah, but I like this. Okay, I have to translate this. Deutlich. Oh, clearly. Yeah, clearly. In German, it's deutlich. Deutlich. Okay, this is clearly a witch's broom. Okay, this makes sense. Should we go in? Okay, the inhabitant of this hut clearly houdt duidelijk niet van inbrekers. Inbrekers. In German, it's Einbrecher. It's burglars. Frank, this makes sense. Is niet binnen te geraken. Okay, what? The resident of this hut clearly doesn't like burglars. It's impossible to get in. Okay. Impossible, you say? Can we? Yes, but can we take the broom? Maybe we need the broom later. Where does this one lead? Oh, look at this. There is something. Oh, there are pigs. The pigs can count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 3, 5, 2. By the way, you can check the title bar. I think you might be in part 2. Oh, I'm already in part 2. Okay, oh my god, I love this. Where does it lead to? This is a mill? In de toren is de toegang tot de andere. Please do your magic. In one tower is the entrance to the other. If you die again, you can launch that one and not go to the first section again. Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. That's good to know. Okay, so in one tower is the entrance to the other. And there is the manhole. There is the manhole. Are we in the sewers now? What is going on here? Where am I? Is this a puzzle? Oh, this is a maze. These are the rooms we are in, right? You made a maze, and I love how minimalist this maze works. It's kind of breath. Oh, look at this. Somehow I managed to get to the witch's house, maybe. I mean, this looks like a cauldron atop a fire. Can I do anything there? Oh, damn it. Probably I need to have something. Every homemade adventure game needs an annoying maze, says Frank. Maybe so. That's peculiar. Okay, I don't know if I ever will be able to get back here again. There's a dead end. Probably shouldn't have gone this way, especially not knowing what I should be doing or expecting. It's interesting when you try to understand how the maze, how the individual rooms are connected up, because this is so minimalist. But I'm really kind of smitten with how minimalist this is, and that it still works as intended once I understood that it was not just two square brackets. I think I might be trapped. I might be trapped. Yeah, I found back to the cauldron again, but probably it's not where I wanted to go. Dead end. Maybe here. Just going in circles. Looks like I've been here before. It looks so familiar. I probably shouldn't be doing it like I'm doing it now. I should draw a map, a proper map for this maze. But aren't there any map drawing tools for this? Let's see. Adventure game map drawing tool. Fantasy maps online. No, it's more like I don't want to create a map. I just want to draw a map. Dungeon Scroll, free D&D map maker. It's a map generator. That's pretty cool, by the way. Let me bring it over. Here we go. So this is Dungeon Scroll, which is kind of nice to make maps if you need them. Even here with lighting. I mean, maybe I can use this as... Can I? Shapes, layers. Or shouldn't I? I suspect it's all connected straight with no shenanigans, but I can't promise it. I mean, if it's connected straight, and there, as you said, there aren't any weird things like teleporters or turning plates or something, this would be helpful. So MePui is a 3 and open source collaborative web application for creating, editing, and viewing grid-based maps. Licensed developers website. Yes, but how? Start creating a map now. Good. And so I shall. This is called MePui. So wall, map, walls, separators. So rectangular room. Okay, I will try now to make here a map out of this, and I don't even know where we are in the world. So angled walls, auto wall manual. So if I do it like so, is this probably not the best way of doing things? Oh, I'm filling out here entire parts. Yeah, maybe just MS Paint, says Cursiboo. Maybe even something like what's it called? Some spreadsheet software, perhaps. But you know what? Paint might not be the worst idea. I just thought there was some sort of where you could do exactly something like this, where you can say, okay, north goes here and south goes here. So adventure game mapper. Maybe I just called it, was Googling for it wrong. Mappermate, free online tile map editor for 2D games. Maybe I do not want to sign up. Thank you. Something like this. So we are here, room. And this connects to room down here and room up here. Oh dear. So, okay, good. So here, this was the room on top. This one, I mean, if I make them all square, it's probably even better. Okay, I also don't remember how to use Hypercard, so trying to work it out that way is not working. Okay, good. Pen and paper and those nice Pixel Prophecy notebooks, says Limbonotti. Yeah, I think this is a good idea. This is probably really the fastest way of doing things. So let's see if I can get this to work. Okay. So here we have my Pixel Prophecy notepad. I don't think that you can actually follow along because it's so small, but I will try to recreate what I have here. So, okay, since this here is a dead end, I will just try and draw it here. And then I will just go there. Oh yes, and there it leads to the cauldron. Yeah, it's super small, but yeah. I can tell you that the part 2 stack has 86 cards and each maze room is a card, so there's less than 86 rooms in that maze. I kind of suspect it might be a 7x7. Thank you for working out the math on this one. So, okay, we're here when I go down. So it's not impossible, in other words. We're here, I go down again. And now we are in this room where I can go left and right. So let's just keep going left. And once more left. And there is... Oh, okay. Where was the dead end? I think there should be the next dead end. Yep. According to my map, there is a dead end. Good, I just need to make sure that I want to... left, no, this was right, up, and here we are again. Okay, this is where I was, so now we're here. I'm really sorry that this is super small now on your screen, but this seems plausible. The question is, am I clicking here? Is this registering or is this... Okay, so this apparently is a dead link. When I keep clicking here, good to know. I just put in a question mark then. Then I just keep exploring right. And now up. Maybe I can get from this side to where I need to go. Okay. Okay, now I'm completely stumped where actually I am, because this downward thing here, I have no idea where I am right now. Ah, okay. So we came here and it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're here in this room. Yes, then we go over here 1, twice, and here it comes down, but this is... this doesn't make sense. Okay, Frank says, in the objects menu there's a card info item which tells you the card ID and the name. That's probably cheating, but if you want to confirm that you're in the same room. Okay, good, thank you. That helps. So objects, card info. That's Dulhof 20, and there we are at 46 out of 86. Okay, this contains 3 card buttons. Thank you. Okay, at least this Dulhof is Dutch for mace. Oh, good. Doolhof. So just to maybe find some info here, it's 53, or in this case 27. So, but where is this? Didn't I just note it down? Okay, I think I found my way again. Okay, so this card here, where is... No, there we go. Okay, card info, this is 38. Good. Then let's go down. And down. And this one here is 36. Makes sense, I think. This one is 39. And up we go. I think there should be, this must be a dead end. No, it's not. Okay. Oh dear, this is so reminiscent of good old adventure gaming. So card info, this is 47. Right, and there should be a dead end on this side. Yes, okay, good, this makes sense. So here was 39. This should be 39. Good, okay. Then let's head over. This should be 36. It's 3. Oh, what did I do wrong here? You're mixing index cards. Thank you, Martijn. Exactly. Dolan is to wander aimlessly. This is nice. And thank you for the unicorn. Oh dear. I'm just wondering, can I zoom in there on the camera? Let me quickly try this out. When I can release the zoom, there we go. Yes, it kinda works. Okay, this here says cauldron, and this says here 47, and this here is 36 that I mix, which is actually number 3. Okay. Yeah, probably shouldn't have mixed this. Okay, so this is 3 then. 3. Then let's head over to the right. Okay, a dead end, at least on this side. Oh yeah, there's the dead end. So which is this? Card info 14. So assuming from knowing the labels that this is 3 here, just make sure that I'm naming things correctly. So this is 5 then, and not 38. Ah, good. We're getting there. Map is coming together. Yes, indeed. Slowly, but still. And super blurry, but as long as you can halfway make it out. Okay, Frank says 7 wide seems to hold up so far. 7 high, we'll see. I mean, since this is 3, maybe I'm very close to the entrance here when it has such a low number. So this is 5, right? So let's find out what is happening here, because here this one was going here and then wanted to go down. So probably I had made here a mistake. So let's head over there. This is correct. This is also correct. Let's find the card info 26. Then there should be a dead end when we go down. And over here, yes, this makes sense. That there is a dead end. This is a dead end. This is a dead end. Okay, good. Then 26. Right, we make our way up once. That's 25. The question is this still 25? 24, okay. Ah, okay, I was 1 too high. This makes sense then. Good, okay. Then this wraps around here. Card info 23. Now let's see if this stacks up. So here we are, 23. Card info 21. And this goes, wait, down? No, this cannot be. I mean, I think we're here then. Objects, card info, this is 20. So this is 20, 21, and 22. I think, yeah. Assuming it's Euclidean. Indeed, you never know with adventure game things. So, okay, 20 is this. Then this with the closed one should be 21. Yes, then 22. Oh, wait, 23. Is this 23? This is 23. So, somehow I must have miscounted. Anyways, because if we keep going there, we should end up at the cauldron. Yes, that's at least correct. So we're here, card info 12. I click once, card info 11. Once again, 10. 9. So 9 is the first one down. And this is 20. Okay, this doesn't make sense. So we have here 20, 9, 10, 11, cauldron. $20, 9, 10, 11, cauldron. It is, of course, entirely possible that a straight room gets skipped because I made a mistake. I was young then. Yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, as long as I somewhat find my way there. I mean, the weird thing is I almost feel that I somewhat know my way around here. Wait, where are we now? Are we here? This cannot be. Card info 22. Okay, so this is the elusive room 22, but from where are we? Where did we come from? Card info room 20. This is 20 here, and we should actually be able to head down. Oh god. So here we are in 23, right? Maybe I just drew it incorrectly before. 23, 24, 25, and 26. Yes. 1 over. And this is number 5. Room 5. Okay, now let's see. Maybe I made a mistake here. So this is 6. And going there did not work. Because we're still in 6. Okay. Good to know, so that there's an X. I wonder if there's actually anything in the maze other than the entrance and the cauldron. It might be just a way out later if you get into the witch's house some other way. Probably, but I still need to find the exit first. And I think, I mean, since this is 6, then we go down 5, probably 4, 3, and when we go down here, once again, maybe here this is how we entered. This is, oh dear, 37. Then let's check if this is 39, because then I'm correct. Yes, this is 39, so this is here. Then we head down and left once. Was this left once? This is 40. Oh, and there's a way up. What's here? Nothing. Right, there is the turn, the corner, that's correct. And I mean, so far, this is looking like a proper grid. Just testing which room we're in. 44. And it's a dead end. Okay, so then we probably need here, this must be probably perhaps the entrance, maybe here. So let's get our way out of this, over, down, and down. This must be 40. Yes, it is 40. Oh, there's another dead end. So then maybe here. So I think I messed up here somehow when I drew this without knowing the room numbers. So this is 37. Yes. And I move over here. This is 15. Interestingly, we move up. It's 3. I move over. And I think maybe we should go down here. This is 2. Yeah, makes sense. The numbers keep getting smaller. This is probably 1. And this looks very closely to the entrance. Yes, here we are. So, finally, good. We've made it. We've mapped this dungeon. Let me switch back. Hello everyone. Look at our amazing map. If you can see it. There we go. So yes, the big O at the bottom is where we head in, and up here this is the cauldron, and all the X's are dead ends. So hopefully We never need this map again. But it's, yeah, Frank says, I was right 7 times 7. It's so good when you have, you can test your assumptions from scientific observations. As you said, the number of rooms in this chapter, and judging of that, you probably make a maze quadratic in terms of base, of ground layout. This helps us a lot. Okay, so we're back. We're back where we came from. This was quite an undertaking. So we came from there. We didn't go to the city. This reminds me of what Arkham, as Lovecraft depicts Arkham with the church in the middle. Oh, there is something written. 637 AD, I think. Is this 637 AD? And as for the pigs, if I call it, by the way, I find this very cool. So this is, we're looking up into the tower, and it says here the tower has an entrance to the other tower. So can I click on something, or is this a clue for it? By the way, I want to check out here the pigs. That was 3 pigs. 3, 5, 2. Cool. I think it was always going to be at least rectangular for ease of design too. At some point, I feel I know what you mean, is that as a player, you have to think like the designer and with their constraints, just so that you're able sometimes to figure out how they think and what the puzzle might be. Can I click anything else here? Or is this already a grid? I mean, it's 5 times 5. Okay, there's another hut. Oh, you need to help me there. Oit te waren, moit je erst dat war kenti even wassen. Something with water, perhaps? Okay, I don't think that Google Translate will be able to do this longhand. I mean, I will try though. Oh yes, it does. Before you can set sail, you first have to wash that pig. Okay, wash that pig. But which one? How cryptic. I mean, that's somehow... Oh, there we go. Oh, this is another tower then. Let's have a look. De deur is opslot. Typ de cijfercode. Okay, so the code in the other tower was 637. Where are we? What is this? Oh, and there is the other tower. And 289. So this must be some sort of castle. This is very misty in some sense. Okay, that war kennt je even wassen is an idiom. Okay, good to know. So I shouldn't stressing over it then. So the important part was the number. It basically means deal with the problem, but I think it's really here to link the pigs to the ship. Okay, makes sense. What if I enter here the pigs code 352? Does nothing. What if I enter here the code that we just saw, 281? Nothing. So it's really what we saw in the church. It was 637. There we have 289. So what's here with the ship? Het ship is vastgelegd met een cijferslot. Okay, the code. Let's try the code 289. No, it must be what the pigs. That was 352. There we go. The pigs were for the ship, exactly as you said. So let's see welche Kurs willst du wahren? Okay, which course do we want to take? And I would say 289. I'm now at full C. Frank says I clearly didn't have many ideas for part. You know what? I like it. Actually, it's really I don't mind. Jetzt start up in Klein Island. You're standing on a small island, and there is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Part 3. Okay, good. We've made it until part 3, but there is nothing to be. Is this a dark room? And I don't know what I should be doing. Should I have brought a lantern, perhaps, which I don't have? You know what? Let's close the stack and open part 3. Was this part 2 that I just opened? Okay, I'm here on an island, but there is nothing I can do. This might be unfinished. Oh no, okay. Could be then. Let's see. With the card info, it's card number 3 out of 3. Yeah, we've seen them all. Oh no, it's so cool. It's very cool. I mean, I didn't think that I would be drawing a maze on the good old Pixel Prophecy pad. And let's call this game is Micro Aventur, and it is by Frank Hewarts. Very cool. Frank says, I argue that it being unfinished adds to the authentic homemade adventure game feel. But it is indeed a cliffhanger. Do you have any ideas what you would have planned for this part there? Tools. Oh, I love Hypercard. Look at this. File, open stack, compact stack, protect stack. Go first, last message. Font style. This is so nice. For some reason I like it when you have tools that are kind of limited at first glance, but still, I mean, people made the manhole with exactly this tech, and Mist and Journeyman Project, and it came from the desert and so on. So it's kind of fun to see what all is possible there. But thank you so much for sharing and for making this a little bootable thing that even worked here in Basilisk. The only downside was, of course, that I had to be zoomed super deep in, but very cool, it worked. And now I have an installed version of Hypercard that I can boot up whenever I want to. Very cool. Frank says, I don't know what my plans were. I kind of suspect it's unfinished because I didn't know back then either. Good point. But you know what? I'm very taken with this because it has so many weird and twists in it. Like with many games, it's okay. This game is set in a cyberpunk dystopia, and it will stay being set in a cyberpunk dystopia. But especially with text adventures and other homemade adventures, where it's relatively cheap to just come up with anything. I mean, when you say nowadays you make a game where first it starts out as a detective game set in a school and in a small town. And suddenly then you have, okay, we now need a set piece of a helicopter, we need islands, we need, plural islands, we need ships, we need a tower, we need a church, and so on. So suddenly it balloons. But this actually, I mean, talking from a perspective of asset creation, when you do this in 3D nowadays, I mean, even if it's just PS1 style graphics, it's a lot of work. And if you just write it as a text, like 3 or 4 lines of text, it's much easier to be done, and of course it's much easier to experiment that way. So where you can say, yeah, now you're in the middle of the ocean, good luck. It's again, I'm kind of charmed by it, I have to say. Thank you for sharing. So it's already close to midnight and I completely forgot what I wanted to do before. How can I quit from Mac? I forgot how to do this. Was this up here? Finder, file, new folder, special. I think, yeah, shut down. Because shutting down is kind of special for your Mac. So I think programming wise, where was I? Parse content. Oh, right, yeah. When we are parsing the content and there is an empty line, what do we want to do with it? And one thing that I thought that I might add is what if there are multiple lines at the end, so that maybe you start processing the lines here from the end, the content upwards, or at least you start filtering out any empty lines here at the end, and with the first line that is not empty, you start, okay, this actually will be the last line, and then you just disregard the others. Sorry for taking you out of the zone. It's fine. This is when I'm used to programming at work secretly, for example, when something is rendering and I have the time, but I never know for how long it renders or if something comes up. So usually I mean, it helps if you stay in the zone, but I'm kind of quick to getting back into it, so it's all good. Martijn says you probably want to call trim on the entire content before parsing, so it removes empty stuff at the end and the start. Yeah, right. I mean, the thing is that when I'm working on this, I already have it here as an array of strings, of lines. So each line. But I mean, before I parse it, you say this makes sense. Parse page. So explode page content. So trim page content. Let's try this. Yeah, this makes sense. I mean, I'm trimming the lines individually. So I'm having here the T line is the trimmed current line when I'm processing this. But where is my... There it is. Okay, so it took out the empty line here in the center as well. But also here, I mean, I want to keep this line here. You know what? I haven't saved this, so I don't even know if this works. So good thing is, yes, it works. Otherwise, this block would have been pushed downwards. I want to make sure that this line here actually exists or works. So thank you, Martijn. Of course, trimming the entire thing beforehand is the way to go. Martijn says, now you don't have the problem of having empty stuff. Exactly. It saves so much work. Now I just need to debug that there is an empty line in between that I want to keep. So I will just say, you know what, here, echo good old pre, then do it here at the end, and here for every thing that we process, I would just want to say echo line plus line break. So let's see if, yes, apparently I have here an empty line at the top, or do I? So we have here pre, and no. Oh yes, okay, good. So this line, this empty line here in the middle, that one survived. Okay, this is good. So now I said whenever there is an empty line in between, so we fetch the line and then the next line. So for array as line, maybe I need a good old for and not for each. For I is 0, I is less than count array plus I, and then if I is less than count array minus 1, then we say line and next line. So line is array at index, and the next line is +1. And let's see if this actually works, or if I've made a mistake. Yes, line 112. If this would have worked, I would, oh yes, I would have already been a little bit suspicious. Okay, what's next? Is this an incorrect for loop apparently? See, this is why whenever I code in PHP for loop, I always have to check how it works. So for I equals 1, I is less, yeah, this looks correct. What is the actual error message? Syntax error, unexpected token. Having documentation handy is always good. So, yeah, especially with PHP. But yeah, the quality of it, I feel, varies greatly. Especially the in most parts the examples. I feel like you have one. When you're lucky, you have one example that helps you, and the other examples are just weird edge cases, how you can use this to tease PHP doing something weird with it. And to understand it, it doesn't really help you a lot. Okay, Martin says, my standard way of writing PHP is echoing what's going on almost for every line to see if I'm still on track. Yeah, these usually have my echoes also littered throughout. But here is what is wrong here. So if I don't have here my for line, let's see if I don't have my for, because then it will complain that, you know what, I is 0. Let's try this. Uncode type error, array int, programming stack trace, or dear parse page array, contains array in line 118. Yeah, this one here. Oh, count array -1. I think, could this have been the problem? No, but 915. I'd almost claim that when learning a new language, knowing how the documentation is organized is almost more important than what the precise syntax of a for loop is. That is, yeah, you're just at the mercy of documentation. That is true. So if I just copy here the for loop now and see where I'm wrong. Count array. Oh, that's the thing. I forgot the $sign in front of the I. Much, much better. Okay, good. Feel free to remove one almost. Yeah. It's never almost, but yeah, here looks good. We have here echoed out what we want, and we're not getting any errors. So I can get this done. And so let's say echo line and line break and the next line. So I always know what the next line is, and then just echo a divider. Then for each array as line, I will disable this. Good, so let's have a look. Okay, the harsh light filtered through. The next line is empty. Then we're not processing the empty line. And the next line is, something fishy going on there. Thank you for feeding cake to the unicorn. So why is the, oh, right. I think that's the problem. That for some reason, PHP takes different kinds of quotation signs. Okay, the harsh light is the first paragraph, then we have the empty line. Then we have the empty line in the next paragraph, and we have the next paragraph, and since it's the last paragraph, the next line is the same as the next paragraph. Okay, so we're halfway there. So else next line is null. So just so that we know that there nothing comes after. Good. Okay, so if we know that the next line will be empty, so if next line, or let's say trim next line, is empty, then we say here the HTML is the line, the current line, but we say it is of class space at end for now, just to see if this works. Else, and if not, then it's just a standard paragraph. And if it's an empty line, if the current line is empty, if the trim of the line is empty, well, then we just continue. We're not constructing a paragraph for the empty line. We just say, yeah, please bring us the next line. Maybe I shouldn't delete this for now. Null in one case and empty in another. Yeah, that's the question with, because I mean, I'm using here null in a sense that there is nothing that comes after. Otherwise, the next line could be an empty string, which is something that we want. But again, with PHP, you never know how it's being treated. When you have a 1 as a number, could be true, or an integer or a string, and it's always true if you check it. Yeah, but maybe PHP trim returns empty for trim null. I don't. Yeah, I do have some PHP experience, and you never know. Let's see. Parse error 124. Okay, if trim of line, there we go. Let's try this. Deprecated, trim passing null to a parameter string of type string is deprecated at line 100 to 127. So if the next line is empty, then we say space at the end. Okay, so if next line is not null, and let's try it like this. Yeah, that's better. And now this paragraph here should have the space at the end, and this paragraph here should not. So let's investigate. So this paragraph here does not, and this paragraph here also does not have the class that I wanted it should have. So return HTML. Why not? So if next line is not null and the trim of the next line is an empty string, then it should have class echo yay, and it should write out yay once. It does not. So if next line is not null, maybe I should even check the type of it is null. Next line is never empty, I think. Is it not? Let's check it out. See here, yay, that was, I think. And now here we have class space at end. I mean, next line here, this is why it's empty here, where we print out the current line and the next line, and here it's empty as next line. So the problem was that I wasn't checking also for the type, but just for the content. So yeah, 3 equal signs. This was it. Cool. And now I can take out the echoes. Probably not the most pretty code. Frank says, I think I'm confused. All good, all good. So just to quickly walk you through, what I'm doing here is with the array, for each line, I also get the next line. And if the next line, if there is an next line, it could be empty. Then it says here, if trim of the line is nothing, then we continue. Only if there is no next line, only then the next line is null, which means, okay, we're at the last line and there is no next line. Okay, my excuse is it's PHP. Yeah. But essentially it's that when next line is null, it means there is no next line where the current line is the last line. Otherwise, if the next line is empty, then we say, hey, the current paragraph has space at the end. And if the current line is empty, then we continue, because this is just the space between them. I hope this makes sense. Even if it doesn't make sense, it works. So now I can make maybe here a space at end. I can make it here, give it a better class name. Let's say paragraph margin, or paragraph, or just call it paragraph, and add here a CSS rule. So content, paragraph, margin bottom 1 EM. And ta-da, it's not working. Why is it not working? It just worked before. Martijn says, I personally always use braces, even if there's just a single line and thus not needed. You mean with the ifs and if statements? Yeah, the thing is exactly, because as soon as you think, okay, I just want to add another thing and say echo something, yeah, you think, okay, this always the else case is running. But yeah, this is why this would be the preferred way of doing things. Absolutely, yeah. Also here with the continue. It's just probably a bad habit, especially since I started mixing it. But when I trying to see if things work out, then I keep it as it is. So class paragraph, and here we have paragraph. Did I type it incorrectly? Paragraph, margin bottom. Is it paragraph P, perhaps? Oh God, CSS. Frank says, I don't always use braces, but I do make it symmetrical. If the if side gets braces, then does, yeah. As always, consistency. You're just, for your future self or anyone else reading the code, you want to make it as clear and as easy to read as possible. What I do is when I'm doing arithmetics, and even when I'm multiplying or dividing, I know those have precedence over the additions or subtractions. I still put it in braces so that I know when I'm reading over it, okay, this gets executed first. It's not .paragraph P. Thank you, Martijn. If I look at the CSS rule loaded in the browser tools, it's the margin bottom 1. Yeah, this one here, the margin bottom 1. Yeah, paragraph P. I tried. So is it P paragraph then? Probably not large P. I thought it would be just. Let's do it the nuke way, where I'm just forcing it, because I think I'm using here in the content itself a margin somewhere, margin top, and if it's a paragraph there, okay, apparently here the content P said here margin 0, and now I'm forcing it. Okay, so it's content P. This one is here. And paragraph P has, yeah, I think with this importance thing here, if I take it out, and usually when you need to use important in CSS rules, you're already doing something wrong, right? So let's say margin top 0, margin left 0, margin right 0. And now it sticks, yeah. If you can select a paragraph and see what rules are applied, yeah, you go into the browser and look what CSS are. Yeah, content P is a stronger rule than paragraph. Yeah, it's, again, specificity. Right. I mean, I could, since I'm doing this via PHP, instead of adding a class, I can force it by using a style and adding. But I'm afraid, I mean, not really afraid, because this is such a small project. But of course, then you forget where styles are being applied to and in what order. And especially with PHP, that's dynamically creating things. You know how it is. But hey, I'm super happy that this is working. Let's try it out. If I add here another break, so this should not be that's the thing. This should just break and not with a full line in between. This should be a full line in between, which it is, but this should just break once. Why? Why does this not work? I know why it does not work. Because of course we need to say margin bottom. This is why we had margins zeros everywhere. And now it needs, the paragraph needs here the margin bottom forced. Now it works. And Lev Misery is here. What's the project about? And thank you, by the way. And paragraph as a class generally sounds so ew. Yeah, I just didn't come up with a better name. Essentially, yeah, what I'm trying to do is make a microblogging for myself, where I can just I'm doing these microfiction things, and I just thought that I can have it all in one place. I just write it here in this as little markup, where I have title, started, published, and then just the text itself, and the page should do the magic of rendering and putting it out there. So that's the thing. Okay, Martin says use content.paragraph. Oh yes, that makes sense. Content.paragraph. Yes. No. Okay, let's select what is going on here. So the P here, as you can see, this yellow, well here, I mean, when I'm hovering with the mouse, the yellow underneath, this is the margin. And since I didn't specify here the margin for the content paragraph at all, it's just the default, and this looks to be like 1 EM. Here with the paragraph, I'm forcing the margin bottom to 1 EM. No, but the margin bottom 0 is not in now, maybe. Oh, should I put it in there? So essentially just margin 0. Yes, thank you, Martin. That was it. So saves me a lot of headache. It's always good to have a CSS magician here. Boom, indeed, boom. Nice. Because when I'm writing something, I've noticed it when I was doing my text game. I mean, I'm still doing my text game, but usually when I start to write something, because it's Twine, I automatically start putting everything there in paragraphs. But when you want to do some creative writing, maybe you want just this break, or sometimes you want the double break. I don't know what's it called, but again, and now it's nice that I know that it carries across how I want it. Save. Yes. Thank you, Kersey. Let's celebrate with a sip of water. CSS, PHP programming, it's just a huge puzzle game. As we've seen, is now, okay, how can I get this one line in this case in there that it writes a CSS file, a CSS rule, and then you're in CSS, okay, and how can I make this to be have precedence over the other, and so on. Martin says, I recognize CSS is very weird, but once you get your head around it, it's pretty nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of CSS, as you know from my websites. I recently discovered here on the Wizard's Beans. I mean, now you hardly see it, but when it's a bit smaller, this parallax going on here on top. I probably should make the window much smaller because it's optimized for mobile. But yeah, doing these kinds of parallax effects with CSS, this was fun, especially to get it to work on all browsers. Good times. CSS stuff around flowing text and advanced typography is surprisingly difficult, especially with margins collapsing nature. I thought I was a big fan of the good old CSS Flexbox, as we see here. I've joked before that if this were a page in a book, it would be already torn because I'm constantly using it. And sometimes I feel, okay, Flexbox doesn't get it done. Let's do CSS Grid, and then I'm in over my head most of the time. But I mean, in the end, if I say, okay, if it halfway works, I'm already happy. So let's try reading a different file then as the last thing today. So just for debugging here, I say select the second file, and yes, now it has the paragraph breaks wherever I need them. Beautiful. One thing I've noticed is, you see this, I don't like the ASCII punctuations. So usually for this, I even have here my own kind of markdown, where whenever I have here this incorrect apostrophe compared to the typographically correct one, I get it here in red underlined so that I can fix things. Because when I'm writing these things, it's mostly on my phone. But apparently this one here has already the correct quotation signs. Otherwise, again, they would be underlined in red. Let's save. And right here, yes. Now it looks good. All good. Lev Misery says, typography tip: you are combining a European and American paragraph style. Correct is to only use one, either space between paragraphs or a leading space on the first line, not both. So the American would be without the space in between, you mean, and not the indent in this case. So either that or this. It's correct. Because personally, when I'm writing, I like it to have the option of doing both. But maybe Phil is mid-Atlantic, probably. Okay, American is the one with space between paragraphs. Otherwise, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit torn. But indeed, yeah, I'm reading essentially American stuff and European stuff. But yeah, with typography, this is a big passion of mine, which is another way of saying I'm probably doing things wrong. Honestly, like Phil's combo style, says Martijn, I feel like it gives you a little bit more control when you want to have something. You want different kind of breaks, where, for example, these three belong together, but you still want to structure them. So yeah, Frank says, I'd argue that you're allowed to do your own thing. Thank you. Yes, in the end, it's my page. I can call all the shots. That is true. I mean, the paragraph breaks and indentation and so on, I mean, it's all just there for legibility, that it's easier to read or understand, or when you finish a thought in the text and the next one comes along, that readers know, okay, this is not continued where it was. Yeah. Misery says, I spent way too much in these topics in general, building a small mini blogging and note-taking tool myself. Oh, so you've been there. So I'm just still very, very, how you say it, very blue-eyed. No, that's not the right word. Easy-eyed, also incorrect. You know, I just happened upon it, and I'm still fresh and hopeful that it can't be that hard. It can't be that much of a problem. And you're just this grizzled veteran. Just believe me, it's not that easy. Martijn says, it just looks good and reads nicely. I think that's most important. Kirsty said, I don't know American versus European. I only know LaTeX. Yeah, LaTeX, that's in LaTeX you can set your I think with the language, and if you set the language to US English or even Austrian German, it does all these things for you exactly. So you don't have to worry about it. That's true. How do subheadings look though with this indent style? That's a good question. I've never had to have a subheading. How should I make subheadings? Because it's not in my markup there. So if you say day 2, it probably will just look like a paragraph here. So maybe I should do something like this wiki markup and then parse it, perhaps. Should look into this. Good question. Since so far I've never needed it, but it might be good to have an option for this. Frank says, I've had arguments with people about language switching links on websites that say English, Deutsch, Français. It's not my fault that language names are not capitalized in French. All right, yeah, that's that's the thing. Oh yeah, markdown style. I mean, since I'm using here, where is my language? I call it here Pixel Prose. So good old markdown. Yeah. Okay, markdown for the win. Yeah, I'm also a fan of markdown. Because I mean, the only thing that I don't personally like with markdown is when you have links and different link description. I always feel like the square brackets and the round brackets should be vice versa, or something irks me with this. Or was it, and the other thing was when you have something that is both bold and italic in markdown. It feels like, oh, I have to think on this. True, and images are also ugly in markdown. Yeah, in the end, I feel like markdown is mostly to structure a text for yourself while you're writing it or while you're reading it, and not so much about being nicely parsed. For this media wiki markup, which also I feel is different things ugly. I mean, the cascade of apostrophes when you again want to make something bold and italic is just it's just a bit too much. Martin says, I think it makes sense. Google, yeah. I don't know what it is that I don't like about it. I mean, it was, to be fair, it was only at first when I first started doing my newsletter. Everything was in Markdown, and then I even have my tools that process this Markdown. And whenever I have, I don't know, what was it still back then, a Twitter link, then it would insert the little Twitter icon and so on. So I don't know where I wanted to go with this. Yeah, the point being is I wrote a lot of Markdown and got used to the way of doing links like this. But I don't know. I don't know what it was at first. I thought it should go the other way around. At first you have the link, the URI where it goes to, and then past Phil. We have to ask him. Good thing he's not there anymore. But yeah, doing this with Markdown, these things shouldn't be too hard. Lev Misery says, I'm way too invested and opinionated in these typography topics now. Of course, I feel free to disregard. If it's okay to link to the writing app I'm building. Oh, sure. Let's have a look at CRA. CRA is for writing. I think, have you posted it on the Fediverse at some point? This looks familiar. CRA is for writing anything. Start right. I mean, that's kinda nice, because I'm a big fan of this distraction-free writing. Fediverse, no, okay, then someone maybe has posted it there. That's cool. CRA for writing. I really like it that you say no account required, and this page is super fast. I love it how fast this goes. Thank you, for sharing. This is very cool. And you can create an account. What is here? New. Oh, it's Leafs. That's very cool. Yeah, the thing that I'm doing is not even come close to it. Like I said, it's just some text files on my hard drive that on the server, and then maybe back and forth or an index of everything, and that should be it. But very cool. Thank you for sharing. So it's already past my bedtime. So I was a little bit distracted by Frank's, what was it now, 30-year-old, was it 30 years? Yeah, 31-year-old adventure game. That's, like I said, I never thought that I would be playing one in Hypercard, and now I did, and it was fun. So again, thank you for sharing. And one thing that I wanted to check, no, never mind. So yeah, I think my next issues with this is, I mean, right now I know that I can read the files in the stories path. This works. Probably I at some point I should look into caching this or making it static, and only when I add a new page, then it maybe does the table of contents anew. So yeah, that's probably the thing. Make a table of contents and link from one story to the next. Maybe that's it. I even have here something that is called tags ? There in the header, but probably I'm not going to use tags. Otherwise it might grow a little bit too much. Should I do a remake in Twine, says Frank? I mean, I'm always for it, especially with Twine. I'm a big fan of Twine, and I feel like I've wrestled too much with it, so to quit it. And yeah, I'm always happy to see things reimagined with Twine. And I'm also curious how you will do the maze. Is it going to be different or the same? Can I still click in images? But I mean, hey, if you have the time, and I would play it definitely, and especially I'm curious to see how the ending goes. Martin says you probably want to take the echo yeah, of course. I mean, this is probably if debugging or something. Usually have something like this. There we go. Yeah, good point. Then the content is the file contents. Yeah, files. This is we're just here in debugging land at this point. Thank you. Frank says I'd probably change names and locations to make it more anonymous. We're all curious to see how the ending goes. I don't have a clue. I know what you mean. This with my little text game, like I said, 6 different endings, and at first I planned for 9 different endings, but now it's just 6 endings. It's enough, and I thought, yeah, just write them down in one afternoon. It's been again weeks, but I'm getting closer to finally a beta. Now that I've written the endings, I have to do some changes along the way that they somewhat make sense. Oh my god, stories, they're just ebbing and flowing. So yeah, but the good thing is, you don't need to have a clue. Just go with the first thing that comes to mind, and if it's maybe if it's a portal, or I don't know, a time traveling treadmill, I'm all there for it. I think I mean, right now I'm expecting Easter eggs. Please count on that already. Cool. Okay. Yeah. I think I just heard my tummy rumble and nature call. So let's finish the water. So, thank you everyone for sticking with me for this other Pixel Prophecy. Hey, let's do a micro blogging thing in PHP and see how it goes. So thank you for sticking with me. Again, thank you, Frank, for showing us our game, showing us your game, not our game. Now I consider it our game since we played it together. Yes, I made this. This is how the internet works nowadays. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Martin. Thank you for the help. And Lev Misery, again, also thank you for sharing your cool, what is it? Microblogging? It's not microblogging, but how did you call it? The writing app. Why didn't I come up with writing app? Yeah, my brain is already getting a little bit soft today. Thank you for sharing this and note-taking whatever thing. I think note-taking whatever is a perfect... I also have a note-taking whatever thing. If you recall, some of you know it, but I don't even have it installed anymore. That was Scully. Yeah, that I can show you one last thing. Some of you know that I have made this text editor called Scully that looks like WordPerfect in DOS, because Agent Dana Scully, the first season of X-Files, was typing on it. And so I made here for Notepad++ my Scully like version. So again, it looks like we're doing this in DOS again. I think if you do some C or C++ programming, you can have it look like Borland. Again, this also was something when Phil was bored. Anyway, just thought if you're interested in the retro experience, I can put this somewhere up. Right. Oh la la! Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm a big fan of RetroTech, and as I've also said, I have Windows 2000 in my virtual machine whenever I want to write something with Word, because the Word of '98 was the last, or was it Word 2000? Anyway, the last Word that I feel was usable, and then we had the ribbon bars and everything, and serial letter printing and all that shit. So yeah, letting Phil get bored can lead to unexpected results. Indeed it does. As I've said before, I have this stack-based approach of projects. So usually it goes on the stack and I have to finish it to work on the projects that are underneath. I'm trying to get better at this, and also I'm trying to get a little bit more time to work on all the Phil's pet projects, because working full-time in the past, is it now 5 years, has really taken a lot of time from me. Also with the commute and everything, I didn't expect it as much. So yeah, I'm trying now. I'm in talks with my employer to get down to at least 4 days a week, so that I have 1 day for my hobby work, which is whatever comes my mind, like making a microblogging service for yourself. Anyway, as you know, I don't know how to end things, so I try to make this quick and painless. Thank you again. Next stream will be on Saturday, and I will try to be a little bit more behind it, to announce it early, and what weekend day, because I'm alternating between Saturday and Sunday on weekends. So, and you never know which day it is. Sometimes even I have to look it up because I can't remember it. So probably we'll find a way to remind people during the week on what weekend day the stream will be. Anyway, thank you so much. It was my pleasure, and hey, progress, and I learned something new. Isn't this amazing? Have a wonderful week. See you next time. Bye bye.